The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network. You're listening to the Monday Night Roundtable. For the next 2 hours, we'll talk local high school sports with the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith.
10-5, touchdown, Indians.
Give me the corners, 2 scores, baby.
Give me the corners.
The voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton.
Throw the ball, has a receiver long upfield, chasing it down. Made by Rylan Griffith. He'll take it all the way to the end zone.
Produced by the IH Sports Network, the Roundtable begins now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Alongside the voice of the Indians, Tim Smith, I'm Ben Garrett. Rick Keaton is not here, but he will be soon. He's just running a little bit late, and we're going to be here live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood until 8 o'clock tonight. We invite you to stop by. We have Baby J's Pizza here. We're going to talk soccer. We're going to talk football. Tim Smith, we're going to start off with football, and Rick was supposed to go first. We'll let you go first instead. Oneida looked so good against Rockwood in week 1.
Yeah.
Coalfield's a different beast, though, and Oneida struggled a little bit with Coalfield.
I mean, it would have been nice to start with Rick because that's a big win for the Highlanders, a dominating win for Scott High. Now, I was able to watch some of the replay of that, and that was fun to watch, watching them have fun in that. But we weren't having a lot of fun on Friday night, so it was rough. And, I think it just came down to a Coalfield team that, once again, offensively, very prepared, very multifaceted, and just seemingly has an answer for whatever you're going to try to do. Coach Mark Martin felt good going into that game. I know through Mark he had shared with him, he felt like he had some things he thought he could do to try to disrupt and to slow Coalfield down. And, that may have been true had things gone a little bit differently, but of course Coalfield got the football first. They were able to drive down the field, and I think Greg Addington, that talked with us before the game, kind of nailed it when he said Jason Wilson, the offensive coordinator down there, he's going to take what you give him, and if it's a big chunk play, he'll go for it. If it's dink and dunk, some people say that like it's a bad word or something, like it's something you shouldn't do or it's not fair, but it's very effective, and he does whatever he needs to do. He had a good couple of runners. Jaden Bunch, the sophomore, I don't remember him from last year. He may have played some last year, but how impressive he was with his running ability when he would just mix in the run, but you always have the threat with the quarterback Treese. Receivers running good routes. Oneida would set up defensively, and as teams do now, they look over to the sideline, and the coaches, it's almost like they're playing a video game. They signal back in, here's what I think is going to be open. And I don't think he missed anything on that. Now, so defensively, you were just trying to slow them down, make them work for it. But to compete in that game, you had to have something offensively to at least put a little pressure on Coalfield. And that's really the side of the ball that did not find itself at all on Friday night. We knew against Rockwood, Oneida got up big, got 28 points in the first 2 quarters, but then we knew the running game was not where it needed to be. Oneida's starting running back, Caleb Reagan, went off the field on the kickoff on Friday night. So they relied on Xander Lau to start that game, a freshman. And Xander's first run was 8 yards. But as things snowballed a little bit, as is the tendency, you kind of get away from the run a little bit. So that's, I think, what Oneida did. Got away from the run, and looking back on it, probably would have liked to have given that a few more shots, because it did seem like Coalfield was able to just tee off, get pressure from different sides on the quarterback there, and cause a lot of problems for Caden. So, I looked at it today. We write an intro for each week, and one of the things I wrote on the intro as I looked at it this week is dating back to last year, the last 2 games of the season, which was for Oneida. It's a couple of shutouts. And then you have a shutout here in week 2. And really, in that first game this year, Oneida didn't score in the second half. So of the last 16 quarters of Oneida football, there's been 28 points, and they all came in the first and second quarter of Rockwood. So I definitely think there's offensive work to be done to get this team where it needs to be. Now, Coalfield, they're going to beat a lot of teams. They may beat all the teams. We don't know. I mean, they definitely look like they have the capability. They have the talent. They got receivers. They got runners. They got a good quarterback. Defense is pretty solid. Oneida wasn't able to exploit it Friday night. So, you just got to kind of mark that one off to what it was, which was a big win for Coalfield, and then move on. Because this week the Indians will have their first road game, and they play an Eagleton team that should be extremely fired up for their first ever game that's going to be played at their field the first time they've hosted a game. It's on a Thursday night. No other games in town. William Blount, Heritage, Maryville, Alcoa, none of them are playing on Thursday night, so they're hoping a lot of people come in to watch Eagleton. They're going to be excited about that, but we know that Eagleton through the first 2 weeks has had their struggles. Tellico Plains here in Huntsville last week. So Oneida, not going to feel sorry for Eagleton. They're going to try to get right.
And two things I think stood out to me in that Coalfield game. One was Coalfield's ability to throw the football and the success that they had. And they got some weapons, obviously, but also the strength of Oneida's defense is their passing, their secondary. The other thing that surprised me was Oneida's inability to throw the football and after the success that they had against Rockwood. But you talked about the offensive woes. How much of that is solved if you get just a little bit of consistency in the run game, which hasn't been there so far?
Well, I definitely think it's going to help. I think the threat of that right now, we just didn't really have the threat of the run, and again, I think we got away from the run in that game once Coalfield built the 2-score lead, and then certainly when they got the 3-score lead, we got away from it quite a bit. So we still haven't seen it. We haven't seen the run this year for the Indians, and so I would think this week, looking at the opponent and looking at the ways they've struggled, I would think surely that there is an intent this week. We know we can throw the football if we're pressed to do it most of the time, but we don't know if we can run the football. I think this week's going to be it might be one of those situations where we keep it on the ground until you make us throw it or something. I don't know. That's up to the coaches on that, but I think this is a week where you need to prove that you can find a running game.
Well, to that point, Scott High against Cumberland County in week 1 had absolutely no running game presence whatsoever. Week 2 against Eagleton, they averaged 8 yards a carry, almost 9 yards a carry against Eagleton. So Eagleton's defense can be run on, and I think you're right. Oneida will focus heavily on that. And to me, Eagleton, because they're a brand new program, they're still trying to get their sea legs under them. That's just what the doctor ordered. Not that Oneida is reeling coming into this. I mean, they had that big win over Rockwood, so they've only lost one. But I know they want to get the taste of Coalfield out of their mouth as quickly as possible. Eagleton's a good opportunity to do that. Not that Eagleton's not got some capability. Their quarterback's really good. But as a team, they're still a team that's very much in growth mode. So it should be a good opportunity for Oneida on Friday night.
And you look at the Rockwood. Rockwood lost Friday night. Rockwood didn't score Friday night. So they lost to Monterey. It's a good Monterey team. But Rockwood probably not as strong as they've been certainly in the past few years. So, the Indians will be looking for a good showing up in Blount County.
So I wish Rick Keaton were here. I really thought that he would pop in while we were talking because I want him to talk about that Scott High win over Eagleton because what a huge win that was for the Highlanders. Broke a 20-game losing streak, first win since October of 2020. And to me, and I think Rick has just walked in, so we'll wait for him to get in here. The regret with that was that the game got called because of the thunderstorm late in the third quarter because the wheels were coming off for Eagleton. Scott High was starting to sense that the students were in celebration mode. Everybody was like, okay, we can finally taste this win, and was starting to have fun. And it would have been nice for that Scott High team to have been able to savor that for a little bit longer than what they did. So let's do this. While we're waiting for Rick to get in here, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come right back on the round table and get Rick Keaton's thoughts on the Highlanders' win over Eagleton on Friday night. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. We want to thank Greg Bond and the Scott County School System for being our host. We want to thank Baby J's Pizza for providing the pizza for us tonight. Alongside Tim Smith and Rick Keaton, I'm Ben Garrett. Rick, we took that break because we wanted you to slide in here. Tim has already talked about and broken down the Coalfield game from Friday night. We wanted you to talk about that Scott High win over Eagleton because it's been a while. You sat through 20 consecutive. You've called 20 consecutive Scott High losses. But on Friday, the Highlanders came through in a big way against Eagleton.
Ben, they came through in a big way, and my lasting memory leaving the stadium the other night was the coaches. They went to the top of the press box. It meant something to coaches, too, not only to players and fans and everything, but the coaches wanted to celebrate that by spending some quality time together, talking about that, and just enjoying the nightcap, the last portion of what would have been a tremendous evening for the Highlanders.
And that was a celebration, as you said, that with the coaches it was still going on even when we left, which is
That's
unusual.
right.
We're usually the last people out. But it was something that even the students and the players were just hanging around on the field. It's like nobody wanted to go home. Everything was wet. Everybody was wet. Everybody had gotten drenched. But everybody wanted to hang out and just kind of take it in a little bit. But for the Highlanders, we talked about it against Cumberland County, and I said that, even though they lost to Cumberland County, you had to be encouraged by the way that they played because you have to learn to crawl before you learn to walk.
Exactly.
And it looked like they were ready to take that first step on Friday night. The things that they needed to improve on, offensive line play, running game, all that improved. Defense continued to play well, and the result was 31-7. And if it had not been for the fourth quarter being canceled, it may very well have been something like 45-7.
Exactly.
But it was an all-around great win for the Highlanders.
It was a great win for the Highlanders. I start with the defense. Two games. Give up 10 points. In your first game against Cumberland County, you give up 7 against Eagleton. For the season, we've already forced, I think, 4 turnovers. The game Friday night against Eagleton, we did not punt the ball a single time, and we did not commit a turnover. So that's always part of the success, If you do not make turnovers, you don't have a lot of big penalties, things that hurt yourself, you can be a very good team. So, the biggest play the other night that Eagleton actually had was that kickoff return, which gave them good field position. And so we still did our job. The defense still did the job after that. So, got to be real pleased with those type of decisions that were made by the coaches to put in a few different kind of plays, to move some people around, to insert another center in the offensive line, and they changed blocking schemes. They knew they had to get the running game going, and in a big way they got the running game going the other night compared to what we had against Cumberland County and even in most of our games last season. It's the fact those young men have stepped up. They've now accepted the challenge, and basically the other night, 5 offensive possessions up to that 9-second mark when the game was called of the third quarter. 5 possessions, 5 scores. I'd have to go back a long time, I think, to ever find a stat like that in a Highlander game or especially a Highlander win.
Yeah, and the one time that it looked like they were in a punting situation, it was a successful fake punt, and that was what turned out to be the final drive of the game. Had the game not been called, they were well on their way to another touchdown. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the big thing that stands out. Somebody made the comment, well, Eagleton is a brand new team. They don't have any seniors. I think they actually had 2 seniors.
They had 2.
But I think it's easy to look at that and say, well, it's Eagleton. It's a first-year program. Tellico Plains put up 48 on them, and then they get hammered by Sequoia, who put up 55 on Tellico Plains for their first win in 5 years. But just the point that you've already made, Scott High did not have to punt the football. Quite frankly, Eagleton did not stop Scott High. Had the fourth quarter not got canceled, who knows what the final score was.
Exactly. And it's a combination of factors. It's the players accepting a challenge. The players have the desire. They knew that if things fell in place this season, they could pick up a few wins. And that goes a long way in the mindset. I can't tell you how important it is to really have a full complement of assistant coaches. It takes a whole lot off of Coach Harris that he can assign different things out there to different coaches. And you saw the assistant coaches what they did basically to step up in Coach Harris's absence last week from practice. He was there at the game, but, he was letting the coaches handle all the stuff that they had prepared the entire week for. And so, kudos to the coaching staff from Coach Harris and what the rest of the coaches did. I thought they had this team well prepared as well prepared as they played a game in surely the last two and a half years.
All right, and I said Friday night that probably is not going to be Scott High's only win this season. It's a starting point, but now maybe it's time to talk about this Scott High team as a playoff contender, because you got Austin East and you got Union County. Those are the two teams you got to get by. The ways they've played so far, there's probably no reason to not think they're going to have a shot in those two games.
Well, I certainly think so. You don't know what will happen with the other two teams, if they're going to progress some themselves, if they stay the same or if they step back. With the Highlander squad, I think this bunch has room to grow and grow. I mean, after all, you've got a quarterback in Landon Griffith. He's now had 2 games at quarterback. This is the only experience he's had at quarterback. He's been a receiver before this. So you see him growing a little bit. Had 62 rushing yards the other night. 62 yards to go with, 169, I think, passing. So there's a tremendous effort, and he was our player of the game. But he can run ball. And when I say that, we also had another ball carrier, and that was Rylan Griffin, who also had 62 yards, I think, rushing in the game. But 67 of that was on a one-play touchdown run that he had. Of course, he had a loss or two there, and that kept him at 62 yards. But, statistically, we'd be real challenged and not have to put Woody on the books to look at this. Last time we had 2 players that had more than 60 yards rushing. I can't say enough about Landon. I think 7 out of 8 passing.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
That's according to Leetta Boyd.
Her
stats do not lie.
I'm not going to argue with her, but I would say the same thing about Woody's stats. They're pretty doggone accurate. But nevertheless, that is a huge positive. Nevertheless, receivers making catches, yards after the catch. And had 2 really solid catches and then runs after that the other night for touchdowns. You got to like the way this team is progressing, and we hope that confidence carries forward. And I certainly think not only our district wins, but some more other wins for the Highlanders coming up. And I won't discount the fact that this Friday night, Clinton will be the toughest team that we've played so far in the season.
Definitely. All right, so Scott High with a win over Eagleton on Friday, 31-7, breaking that 2-season, 20-game losing streak. So you guys are tired of hearing from us old men. You want to hear from the folks who you really tuned in to see tonight, and we're going to get to that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll switch to soccer and talk to Oneida's Ayla Sims and Rory Blevins right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Huntsville. We will be here until 8 o'clock tonight. We invite you to stop by and join us, have some Baby J's Pizza. We want to thank Baby J's and Tara and Wayne and all the crew up there for feeding us tonight. What do you think, Tim? Better get out here quick and get it before the football team gets here, right?
Absolutely.
You've had yours. Rick's having his pizza right now. I don't get any, but okay, that's all right. I'm not going to complain.
It's fine with me, Adam.
We are joined by Oneida soccer players, Oneida seniors, Ayla Sims, goalkeeper, Rory Blevins, the sweeper. And so, guys, first of all, I'm going to talk about been a rough start to the season, and you knew it was going to be a tough start because your schedule was front-loaded. But, Ayla, you guys finally got that first win on Saturday morning up in Gatlinburg against Stone Memorial. Talk about getting the monkey off your back and getting that first one.
It just felt – honestly, it felt different Saturday. We just came in with a different mindset, and he said that at practice today. We just turned it on almost. We're missing 2 starters, and we just knew that we had to step it up because if not, we were going to be 0-4.
And, Rory, through the first 3 games this season, you guys have had some trouble generating some offense. That changed against Stone Memorial. And obviously the defense was a key part of that. You held Stone Memorial, shut them out as a matter of fact. But you get 2 goals. You started things off with the PK. Talk about the play that set that up. I'm going to guess you didn't draw the penalty considering that you were back in the sweeper position, but you took the penalty kick and scored. So talk about that play.
Well, it was kind of funny how we got it actually. Their team, I don't know, they just didn't know what they were doing. The keeper threw it and their defensive player caught the ball with her hands. And we just got a PK off of that. It was good, though, because when we got that point, it changed. The girls lit up, and it helped Jillian to put that second goal in.
And talk about that play. By the way, Jillian Cross got the second goal off a deflection. She was our first National Bank Player of the Week. Talk about her goal that kind of sealed things in that game.
I can't remember exactly what she did, but she placed the ball really well. Where the keeper, their keeper was not very. She wasn't as mobile. She couldn't move as well, and Jillian took that to her advantage and placed it right down in the bottom corner.
Coach Phil Newport said you had a good game Saturday morning against Stone Memorial. He also said that you had a good game against Dixon County later in the afternoon. That game was a loss for Oneida, so some people might overlook your effort in that game. Which one of those two games do you think you would put up there as your best of the season so far?
I gotta say, Dixon County, I took a lot more risk. I think I scared everybody. There was one time I went out and pretty much stole the ball from the forward, and everybody was really shocked because I've never done that before. But
so you say shocked, you mean like they didn't think you had it in you?
She came out of the box, and the girl, keep in mind, their best girl, got good ball skills, and Ayla just steps up to her and takes it like it's nothing from her. She just sweeps it from her feet, and that girl just keeps on going past without the ball. It was amazing.
Okay, so that was supposed to be Ayla's moment. Thank you, Roy. Talk about the heat at Gatlinburg. What was it like, especially on the turf?
oh, it felt like my feet were on fire the whole time, and I was just glad I had a short sleeve shirt because it was very, very hot.
How much did the heat take out of you guys as far as the way that you performed in those 3 games up there?
I feel like by Saturday night we were all like done. By the time he pulled us out, we were laying on the ground, just done.
All right, so Rory, you guys have, and both of you guys, by the way, have started since you were freshmen, but you've been playing behind those seniors from last year for that entire time, and some of the other seniors before that. But that senior group last year was a big core part of that soccer team the last several years. Now you guys are the seniors. What has it been like to have to step up and to step into that senior leadership role?
Well, it's different, of course. We've always had our best friends leading us, and they've always been there, and they have been great examples. Aaliyah Douglas has been a phenomenal example. But now it's our turn, and we've just got to lead. And this group isn't as selfish as they, not saying last year's was, but a lot of teams struggle with leaders who are selfish, but we're just here to make each other better.
Yeah.
Serge, go ahead.
I'm ready.
Right,
I've got a question. I'm going to go back to this moment where you said it was their best player that was coming at you with the ball, and you said you made the decision to go after that, and you said you'd never done that before.
I've not done it to that extent. Like this weekend, I just kept getting braver and braver, and because he kept telling me, "You got to come outside the box, or they're just gonna shoot on you one-on-one." So I just decided, might as well, got nothing to lose. Might as well just do it.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
And so, are you going to be doing this more? I'm not trying to tip other teams off or anything, but did it go so well that you think, I might try that some more?
I mean, if it's the right player, I guess.
Okay. But, I mean, was it a situation where this girl is so good that you thought, you know what, odds are she's probably going to score with this anyway. I need to go for this, and this is the best shot?
Yeah, because it would have been a one-on-one. Either way, Roy even said after she would not have been able to catch her or slide, tackle her, get her, or anything like that.
And the coach was okay with it?
Oh, yeah, he was running down the sideline screaming.
Awesome. That's
Not
great.
Phil. Phil never runs down the sidelines or screams.
Had you all ever played 3 games in a day before like that? Is that something you usually do?
We played last year. We played 2 games in a day, but it wasn't not that hot at all.
Right.
I think it was actually raining the first game last year. But
So this week you were telling me you've got 2 games this week, right?
yes,
Who you got tomorrow?
Cumberland County
Okay.
and Oliver Springs on Thursday, our first district game.
So that's a district game.
Yes.
Okay. So what about Cumberland County, Rory? Cumberland County, they good?
Honestly, I'm not super sure, but we don't really care how good they are because no matter what, we have to go out there with our A game on.
Okay. As long as you play your game, you're okay?
No, everybody's got to play their game.
That's what I mean. Yeah, the team. Yeah, gotcha. And then what about Oliver Springs, like in the preseason district lineup, leaving your guys out of it, who's the toughest team probably in the district going to be to deal with?
Kingston by far.
Kingston?
Yes.
You agree? Yeah. So where's Oliver Springs? Are they somebody you feel like you should be able to compete with?
Yeah, we just can't underestimate him. You just got to go in and take care of business.
Did you play him last year?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
I think it was 6-0.
You guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've talked about it, turnover, a lot of turnover from last year, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, is it weird to go from having just followed the lead of others all the time to now you're called upon? How are you doing with that? I mean, how do you lead? Are you a vocal leader, or do you just do it with your play?
We try to be vocal. Some of us are more quiet, so there's like Ayla and me, Phil preaches it every day that we have to be vocal. We have to tell the younger girls where they need to go because we have 4 freshmen usually that are starting or coming right off the bench, and they're clueless, and it's not their fault. They're new to the high school game. So we have to help them and guide them through the game.
You don't have to name any names. Are they all okay with it, or do some of them look at you like you're being too bossy?
I mean, I don't really care in the moment. I want to win.
Right. You're just doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So yes is the answer. Some of them do look at you like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop that. She's just trying to help you win. Go ahead, Ben. That's what I've got.
So I do have one question. We talked about Phil Newport and the way that he yells and screams, and you guys didn't say that. I said that. So Phil didn't coach the first game of the season. We talked about that when he was here last week. So I want to know something. That first game without Phil has a very unique, distinct voice, right? Mm-hmm. And he uses it loudly. So what was it like that first game without him there? Was it more fun?
No, it was weird.
You missed him yelling?
Yeah, he adds energy. Like, I felt like we were so lacking energy. Like, when you do something good and you look over and Phil is running down the field with his hands in the air screaming, it just makes you happy. It puts a smile on your face.
So you could not hear him from the Walmart parking lot? That's actually kind of surprising.
Every time something happened, both of us would look up there and just see if we could see his reaction. We couldn't see him.
All right, so last question for you guys. You get started against Oliver Springs. You get started in district play against Oliver Springs on Thursday. As you've already said, Ayla, Kingston is the one with the bullseye on them. That's the district favorite. You play them at the end of the season, but you've already seen them once in the preseason play day. You know where you have to go from where you played them the first time to the one that matters when you play them later on. How much of a stride do you think you've taken towards being ready to face Kingston, and how much work is still to be done?
I feel like when we played at Scott High, that was the worst that we've played. I mean, even in practice, we've not even practiced that bad. And I feel like we can compete. Like, that's what Coach said. He said we can compete by the end of the season, be able to compete with them, not lose 6-0 like we did at Scott High play day.
All right, Rory, make a prediction. The offensive breakthrough is getting ready to happen for this team. If it happens tomorrow night against Cumberland County, or if it happens Thursday against Oliver Springs, who's going to score that first goal?
Jillian Cross.
Okay. Jillian Cross, I would say that would probably be a pretty good bet. All right, Ayla Sims, Rory Blevins, thank you for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night against Cumberland County and Thursday against Oliver Springs. By the way, both of those games will be played at home at Jane Terry Hoffman Field. Give me a start time, either one of you guys.
6 tomorrow.
6 tomorrow and
6:30.
6:30 on Thursday. So there you go. Get out and support the Lady Indians if you have the opportunity. We'll take a break, and when we come back on the roundtable, we'll be joined by Ellie Lau and Angel Cooper as we talk Scott High soccer right after this. Welcome back to the roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Alongside Rick Keaton, I'm Ben Garrett. Tim Smith has stepped off to eat his Baby J's Pizza. We are joined now by Scott High seniors Angel Cooper and Ellie Lau. Ladies, let's jump right into this. You guys got a big district win last week over Union County. Now, I got to tell you, there were people who said before the season, with all the starters that you guys lost, I don't know if Scott High will win a game this year. I actually heard someone say that. You guys have now won 2 in a row. Talk about the start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, we worked really hard during the summer. We've worked a lot on our control touches, on everything that we need to prepare for the season. And when we come in and we won those 2 games, it just really helped us. It just put us to an advantage as to how our mood was and how the season was going to be.
And it all kind of got started. The momentum for this 2-game win streak that you guys are on got started with your goal in the second half against Campbell County. Turned out to be the winning goal. You were the first National Bank Player of the Week. Yep. Coach Eric Henry said after the game, he said, if you'd asked me which one of my seniors was going to score tonight, I would have named everybody on the team, including the freshmen and sophomores and juniors, before I named Angel Cooper.
Yep.
Talk about that goal. Where did that come from?
Honestly, I kind of think it was luck, honestly, but I'm glad I did it.
It's never luck. Never luck. It's execution.
And skill.
Yeah, he moved me up. He took me out at defense. I wasn't on top of my game. I was not doing good. He took me out, left me out. I think I went back in about 5 minutes as wing. And I think Alyssa threw it into Rachel. Rachel passed it back, and I just kind of one-touched it, and it went right in.
And, Ellie, we've been waiting on your offensive breakthrough for the season, and you got that last week in the win over Union County. Talk about you guys. I say you guys. I mean you and Rachel specifically, as the two seniors who are on the front end of the field, have been working hard, taking a lot of shots, trying to get that first goal, and you finally broke through against Union County.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. I've been waiting for it, but when playing for Union County, it was a big district win. We done our best to play, and then when the time came, it just worked out for us.
So Union County, I don't know if you guys realize this going in. I'm sure you're aware now. They were a defending district champion from a year ago. They won their district. So getting that under your belt, and obviously I think everybody would say that the two favorites in this district, if you said who's going to go to the district championship game and advance on to the region, everybody would say Anderson County and Gibbs, and they're two really good soccer teams. Based on the way that you guys have played so far, do you think you're ready to challenge those two clubs?
I think we definitely have some more work to do, but I think once we come to the end of the season and when we come to play those teams, I think we definitely can.
I was looking at Angel.
Sorry.
But Angel was looking at Ellie.
She really was.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a hard competition, but if we just play our best, I think we have a chance in being in the end.
So you guys are two seniors out of only 3 on the team. Rachel Garrett, that's my daughter, by the way. She's not here. She'll be here next week. You two are 2 of the 3 seniors on the team. Eric Henry has called upon you guys to step up and fill that leadership role, and I know all 3 of you guys have been doing that, and I know at times you've gotten bossy with some of the underclassmen. So don't look at me that way. I said that to say this. Who would you say is the meanest senior on the team?
Rachel Garrett.
I would say Ellie, honestly.
So you'd say it's a combination then of the two?
Yeah.
We look at each other and see which one's going to be mean.
So you're the blessing and the intermediary.
Yeah, I'm kind of the quiet one over there.
All right, you guys are getting ready tomorrow night to face. You don't know who you play tomorrow night?
It's CAK.
CAK.
Yes.
Okay,
I didn't know if it was my question or not.
Oh, snarky. So, okay, last year you guys went over to West Knoxville to Cedar Bluff and played CAK, and I don't know if anybody would have thought you would have been able to stay in that game, but you played CAK really, really close in that game. Do you think you got what it takes to knock them off tomorrow night?
I think we can hang in there. I think if we play our best and play how we're supposed to play and settle down, then I definitely think that we can play and compete with them. And
on Thursday night, you play?
Harriman.
Okay, so see, I was thinking you start district play on Thursday night. Harriman is not a district opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Harriman, by the way, much improved. So that will be a good game on Thursday as well. And both of those games will be at home. 6 o'clock start times, by the way, at Highlander Field, not Highlander Field. John Yancey Park, we call that. So like Oneida, you guys have got 2 games at home this week. CAK tomorrow, Harriman on Thursday. And then next week you're going to get into your district schedule. Are you ready? I'm sorry, you guys have already played that first district game against Union County. You're going to get into the tough part of your district schedule.
Yeah. I think if we just work together as our team, everyone across the field does their job, we can, play our best.
How about the defense so far? Now, Angel plays defense, so this is your question. Defense has been really good so far.
Yeah, they've been working really hard. They've really saved us in the back when we lose the ball up front. But they really have saved us. Riley's done really good as to coming up and committing as to what she's gonna get. Kinley does really good back there and rotates so that she can get, if anything, that Riley misses. And then on the wings we have Angel and then Kyla or Haley.
Yeah.
They do good to coming up and coming and playing as sophomores. So.
And Bella Sharp, goalkeeper. She was by the way, our first National Bank Player of the Week this week. She's only about that tall, but she's been doing really, really well. How does she overcome that size disadvantage? Just because she's got a ton of saves so far.
She's a good jumper, and she's also good at knowing when to come out and get the ball, and that really, helps us a lot because she saves our butt half the time.
And she put in a lot of work in the off season, going to keeper camps and stuff. We should probably point that out as well. Rick, chime in with what you got.
Well, one of the things that Coach Henry said to me last week, maybe the very first thing he said to me midweek was, hey, we won our first district game. So he was certainly very proud of that. Tell us what the reaction was after that game, just what you thought about the flow of the game, what you thought about and this is directed to either one of you and both of you, just what you thought about the game and how that set you up to have the confidence needed going forward.
I think that the environment after was just great. I mean, we were all super proud of ourselves. I think we played really good, and I don't know, I think it just put us in the lead for the rest of the season.
It really helped the mood of our team when we come in and we settled down, we played and we won and we worked hard. It really just showed what hard work can pay off and how much we've worked throughout the season. It really just shows it all off.
El, you mentioned moments ago about how the back end, the defense has stepped forward to help you some. Are we expecting the scores up front, are we expecting them to get better as the season goes on, as the opponents get tougher and tougher?
We do. When we work hard, we settle down, we play, we'll do good. As we coming into district games, we'll start to settle down and play and score more than what we already have.
Is that your thought too, that we need to be scoring more, we need to get not only 1 goal or 2 goals a game, but try to strive for that 4, 5, or 6 goals a game?
Yeah, of course. Our offense, they put in a lot of work, but I think we just need to get some more goals early on in the game, and it'll help us a lot.
How many freshmen are sort of starting to get a lot of playing time right now?
Aaliyah Jeffers, she's getting a lot of playing time on the wing. She may start. I'm not really sure. There's about 2 or 3 that does real good. They come in, they play, they know what they're doing. They're ready to play when they come off the bench to the game. So
it's good to have the feeling that you can rotate players in and out. I think Coach Henry likes the idea that he can rotate and get, if somebody's not doing well on the field, he gets them to the sideline where he can talk with them. Because there's a few times he doesn't keep them on the sideline very long, but he does like to be able to get them out where he can communicate.
So I got 2 questions. One, it has nothing to do with soccer, and it's going to be about football. Scott High got the win over Eagleton on Friday. We've talked about that. That was Scott High's first win since you guys were freshmen. So as students that were there in the student section, talk about that win, what it meant for Scott High.
Well, Ellie actually wasn't there, so she didn't get to experience it.
Just call me out.
Way to throw her under the bus.
I apologize.
That's what you get for stealing her question.
I mean, that's definitely going to be in my memories for a long time. It was just a great game. Everyone was cheering, shouting. It's just awesome, even after the storm.
So
where were you at when you finally learned that the game had been called? Were you in a car? Or?
We was in the weight room of the field house.
Do you want to tell us why you weren't there supporting your team? No, I'm kidding. Don't. Okay, so this.
Now you're getting snarky.
We will close out with. Well, she makes fun of me, so she deserves it. We're going to close out with a soccer question. So one of the scariest players on the field for you guys, in my opinion, is Alyssa Crabtree. Because if I was on the field and she was coming at me, I would just step aside and get out of the way. Talk about going up against her in practice. Is there a little bit of fear there?
There's always a little bit of fear with Alyssa Crabtree. She does really good, even throughout practice. She's always there. She's always playing. She's always playing her hardest. So with going in for Alyssa, she definitely intimidates people.
And you're playing defense in practice, and she's up front. So how many times has she trucked you so far?
I think she's only got me once or twice yet, but she's not scared to knock you down, I'll tell you that much.
All right. So
you got to make them tough.
Absolutely. Ellie Lau, Angel Cooper, thank you guys for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night against CAK and Thursday night against Harriman. And, again, both of those games at home. Get out and support the Lady Highlanders if you have that opportunity. Guys, good luck. Thank you for joining us. Yep. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to get back into football as we bring up a couple of Oneida Indians. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. He's Tim Smith. He's Rick Keaton. I've been Garrett. Greg Bond, you can't see him, but he's back there making things happen, making the magic happen. We got a lot of folks from Scott High and Oneida out. We want to thank them for joining us. We are live at the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Helenwood. We have Baby J's Pizza, so we invite you to, if you're in the area, you want to stop by, please do so. We're joined now by Oneida's Josh Cole and Brady Burke, and you guys you were our first National Bank player of the game on Friday, and I'm gonna start with a comment, and then we'll turn it over to Tim. If someone had asked me before the season started, Tim, who's going to be a breakout defensive player for Oneida, don't know if it would have been this guy. I don't know if he was on my radar, but in week 1 against Rockwood, you had 2 fumble recoveries, and then this week you lead the team in tackles with 9 tackles. It's been a tremendous start to the season.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tim.
Okay, that's me. I thought
That's
you had
you.
one for Brady too. I was just making sure. That's okay. I'll take care
Sorry,
of it.
Brady.
All right. So Josh, we were just talking, and they had told me that I thought you'd only been here 2 years. You said you've been at Oneida all 4 years, but before Oneida, where'd you grow up?
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, and you were in that area. Did you play any football up there?
Yeah, I played all middle school.
Yeah.
And that's all.
What was it like? Were they winning teams? Were they teams that struggled? What kind of?
They were bigger teams.
Okay.
They were. I think our high school was 6A, and just our middle school we won. We got second place in state, and then our varsity got first.
Okay. And so did you play offense and defense on those teams?
Yes, sir.
Receiver, corner? Yep. Just like here?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me ask you then. So I know that last week Caden actually called it. I said, who's going to be the player of the week next week? And he came up with you. He also said that if somebody comes back to the huddle and says, I'm open, it's you. You
Yes,
staying
sir.
on him about that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, okay, that's good. So you got to. There's a lot of guys out there, and only one football to go around, right? So, talk a little bit about which do you like better? Do you like playing offense or defense better?
Well, I like them both.
Yeah.
Just whatever happens. I mean, yeah, I love offense because I get to catch the ball, run it, gain some yards. But I love contact. I love tackling people.
Okay, and so that's where you earned this Player of the Week was basically for your defensive skills. As Ben mentioned, a couple of fumble recoveries last week. You had, I believe, 7 tackles and 3 pass defenses.
9.
9 tackles. Thank you.
Yes.
Correct me. 9 tackles and 3 pass defenses this past week. So Coalfield possessed the football a lot. So there was a lot of opportunities there, and the offense didn't go as well. What do you think has to happen for the offense to match the output that the first 2 quarters gave us this year?
I think we need to communicate. Just communication, and we also need to get our line together.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's going to lead us right into our line. What about that? Brady Burke. Brady is here. Now, Brady did have defensively, he had a tackle for loss. He forced a fumble last week. But, Brady, you were really selected as lineman of the week because the guys felt like you held strong and did your part. Now, you're a sophomore. You were telling me before the interview this year. And communication is key in the line too, right?
Yeah, sir. We just have to work on seeing the blitz a lot of times and just making our calls.
What do you feel like went well, and what do you feel like didn't go well for the offensive line on Friday night?
I think we pass blocked pretty well, but we couldn't really get the run game going.
Yeah, and it's been that way for the first couple of games, right?
Yeah.
What do you feel like it's going to take to change that?
Well, what he said, just communication, just knowing who to block and, doing our job.
Okay. Now, did you play middle school at Oneida?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and were you on the line there too?
I was.
And what was it like playing for Coach Terry?
It's pretty similar to high school. I think he kind of tried to mimic what we do and do it in middle school, so it made the transition a little easier.
Okay, and y'all won a lot of games,
Yeah.
right? And that's something that's continued under Coach Terry. He always gives the Indians a good chance to win that. But you do play both sides of the ball. Josh gave us his ideas on what he likes. He likes both sides. What about you? Do you have a preference, offense or defense?
Yeah, I like both, but kind of for different reasons. I like defense because, you just kind of go in there and hit someone and you make tackles. But on the offensive line, it's always just kind of been my thing. That's where I go to camps and everything is for offensive line.
Okay. All right. Now, what do you feel like about Eagleton? Have you watched them yet? Did y'all do tape today or just conditioning?
Yeah, we've watched some film on them, and I think if we just play as a team, then we'll have a good chance Thursday.
Okay. Are you gonna try to key on getting some running going this weekend? Is that something that's going to be a focus?
Yeah, that's what we've been working on in practice.
All right. All right. Back to Josh. Josh. So growing up in the Chicago area, do you have favorite teams? Are the Bears your team or no? Okay.
No.
Tell us who's your pro team. Do you have one?
New Orleans Saints.
Oh my goodness, Josh. We could have done better than that. Anything but that. Okay. How come New Orleans? I'm interested.
My brother loves them.
Okay. All right. Well,
He's a Falcons fan.
We'll go with that. It's all right. Yeah, I know. He's going to move seats if you keep it up. Okay. So what about college?
I love Tennessee.
Okay. All right. So you didn't have a team up there that you keep rooting for while you're down here?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So it's the Vols. How the Vols going to do this year?
I think they're going to be just fine.
2 losses, 3, 4?
None.
All right. Brady, what about you? You watch college, you watch pro, you got teams?
Yeah, in college, just Tennessee. I grew up with them. But in the pros, I'd have to say the Patriots.
Okay. Again, I'm a Falcons fan, so you guys could have done a lot better than this, all right? So let me move to something else before we get too tied up in that. What are your interests other than football? Brady, I'm going to let you start. What's something you like to do when you're not playing football? It's not sports related. What's something you like to do with your leisure time?
Just hang out with friends and play with my dog.
All right. You hunt, fish?
I fish a little bit.
Yeah? Video games?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you play? Anything good?
I play some Call of Duty.
Okay.
Just kind of bounce around.
Do you snipe or are you a running gunner?
I'm a running gun.
Okay. All right. Makes fun of snipers then probably, right? What about you, Josh? What do you like to do when you're not playing football?
Play Xbox.
Xbox? What are you playing?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Y'all play any sports games on Xbox or just Call of Duty?
I try to beat my brother in Madden.
Maybe we can get a sponsorship. What do you use, the Saints?
Well, he usually beats me too.
He uses the Saints. Oh well. All right. Who is the best? What team do you pick if you really want to beat your brother and you know he's going to take the Saints? What team do you pick?
Probably Chiefs.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a pretty good call, I guess. All right. Eagleton this week, first road game. Is there going to be anything different about going on the road, Brady? Anything about that changes what you do?
Yeah, we have to leave a little earlier and just make sure we prepare right. Because, for a home game you have a little more time just to get ready. And it's a little tougher to do that on the road.
All right. And I want you to give a shout-out to a coach that you feel like that really has been the coach that you've responded to best on this high school staff. Who stands out to you as a coach that you're just really happy to work with?
He's an assistant coach.
Yeah.
You might not know
That's
him.
Fine.
But Creighton May.
Okay.
Yeah, I like working with him a lot.
All right, Creighton, offensive line guy. Okay. All right, Josh, same thing. What do you think about this Eagleton game Friday night?
I think if we go in and play like we did the first game as like a family, I think we can do perfectly fine.
Okay. And what about a coach? Stands up to you. You're not going to pick one?
No,
Yep,
I get yelled at.
That's good. That's good. That's a smart diplomatic move. So now, but I am going to put you on the hot seat like I did Caden last week. Caden picked. He said it's going to be Josh next week. It's going to be player of the game. Who do you think it's going to be?
Jesse Zachary.
Okay. You know what? I think that's a pretty good shot. I think it's a pretty good chance. Brady, who do you think is going to be lineman of the game next week if you just had to guess?
Probably Cam Cash.
Cam Cash. Oh, Cam. He's he's a senior, right? Senior.
He's going to be a junior.
Junior, okay.
He's a junior.
But he's like a senior. It seems like he's been around. He's I guess kind of the leader of the line a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, tough loss Friday night, but a good chance to bounce back. And I said Friday, but it's Thursday. This game is Thursday night at Eagleton. So y'all get to go play Thursday night. What are you going to do Friday night? You going to go down and watch the Highlanders be right here playing Clinton? Could be a good one. I mean, Call of Duty will be anywhere else. You can play that afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
Stumped him.
I stumped him. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Josh Cole, our First National Bank player of the game from Friday night, and Brady Burke, our Trophy Masters. Did I get your name right? Brady Burke, I was right. Your Trophy Masters lineman of the game from Friday night. Thank you guys for joining us. Good luck against Eagleton this week.
If y'all want to shout out to anybody, I don't want to get you in trouble. If there's somebody that's going to say, you didn't say hi to me.
Mom and Dad.
All right. You want to name them?
Heather and Denny Strunk.
Okay. Nope. Okay. Well, they're here.
Sorry, guys. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by a couple of Highlanders right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network alongside Rick Keaton and Tim Smith. Sorry, Rick, he's Rick Keaton. You're Tim Smith. I'm Ben Garrett. And this is Alton Whaley.
Yes, sir.
And this is Landon Griffith, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to talk about the Highlanders' big win over Eagleton on Friday. Landon was our first National Bank player of the game. And Alton, you were our Trophy Masters lineman of the game. Now, that's a little bit of a misnomer, I guess, because you're not really a lineman. But you had a big game nevertheless. And before I get this to Rick and he takes off and grills you guys, I'm going to ask you this because this is kind of a line-related question. On Ryland's touchdown run, first play of the third quarter, somebody had a pancake block at the point of attack. Was that you or was that Tommy Fitzgerald?
That was Gage Myers.
Well, I messed it both ways then.
There you go.
Okay, but you had a big game, especially defensively.
Yes, sir.
And you had a big game offensively, 2 big games now in a row, and almost identical plays going deep to Ryland Griffin, throwing the ball up there and letting him run in there and catch it. Do you have a preference? Which one of those two was your favorite?
I think the first one was my favorite just because it was like my first touchdown in high school.
At a big moment in the game, fourth quarter, to tie the game against Cumberland County.
Yes, sir.
You know how difficult it is on me during the course of the game to say Griffith to Griffin. I get it.
He usually messes it up, by the way.
But yeah, you know, it's usually is not all the time I mess it up right like that. Both are seniors, Landon and Alton. Landon, I want to start with you just a little bit. You just alluded to the fact this is your first season as a senior, and you've taken over the quarterback role. I asked Ryland last week, I said, hey, that touchdown pass looked pretty good against Cumberland County. I said, how far can he throw it? He said, he can throw it a lot farther. Well, you can throw it a lot farther. I sort of looked at that this morning and I thought, that's about 60 yards in the air from where you threw it to Ryland the other night against Eagleton. Can you throw it farther?
I don't know about all that.
But as long as you've got to feel comfortable. You've got Ryland out there. 50-50 balls. He's got a great chance to go up and take a ball against anyone. And to a certain degree, I think that Jaden Mays has those same athletic attributes too, that if you get the ball out there to him, he can go up and get him. So you've got 3 or 4 receivers that you like to work with. Tell us a little bit about the players that you're throwing the ball to this year.
Well, Coach is real pinpoint about getting the ball to Ryland. Just because he's always a show out. And then Jaden can go up and get a ball as well. And it's hard throwing to the outside receivers because the young linemen, there ain't as much time. But, yeah, I just like looking at Ryland and Jaden a lot of the time. And we just throw a lot of hot routes.
The thing about it, they do an excellent job after the catch. They both read the field well. The other night on Jaden's touchdown, Ryland was down there. No pancake blocks, but he got in front of 2 different players for Eagleton, and that allowed Jaden to go on in. So they've got to be able, besides catching the ball, they've got to be able to run good routes, and they've also got to block downfield for each other. And Alton Whaley is our lineman of the week. I sort of battled and argued for that the other night. After the game, everybody said, well, he's not a lineman. I said, well, he's a linebacker. Does that not count? And you had 2, if not 3, really good, strong tackles or sacks behind the line of scrimmage by that point. Your role much more defined this season on the defensive side, is it not, Alton?
Yes, sir.
Do you like this linebacker role?
Yeah, I like it a little better in offense, but I like running the ball, really.
You got another good senior, I think, playing the backer position with you there, and that's Tommy Fitzgerald, because he's got a motor.
They look just alike, by the way. Look at them, like twins.
Come on, dude. I thought we was closer than that.
Well, they're not exactly really twins, but I can differentiate them out on the football field. put in last week by the coaches, and that was the emphasis on the running game, Landon. What different things did the coaches put in last week that allowed the running game to be so successful?
I think the pistol formation helped a lot. Having a tight end come down and set the edge for us. And, I mean, our linemen had a really good game against Eagleton. And Cumberland County, I think they were just trying to get things together.
Had at least one lineman change positions last week. And the week before against Cumberland County, the pass protection had been pretty decent. But it stayed good against Eagleton, but they were able to, I think, a little different blocking schemes. Correct me if I'm wrong. A little different blocking schemes, and the line was able to really get some good holes and get some good seal blocks.
Yeah, I think they switched Jace Cloyd from tackle to guard. Well, no, it was the other way around. He was guard, and then he went to tackle, and then Caleb Bell went to guard.
And then the change at center, Dakota, I think, moved into center.
Yeah, they moved Dakota to center and Gus out to tight end.
When I was looking at some stats and stuff a while ago, and I was talking about the fact that it's been a while since I can say we had two players in a game that rushed for more than 60 yards. Of course, you had that, and Ryland also had that. Is that something that we can anticipate going forward, that we'll be able to run? Coach Harris doesn't want to say run first or pass first. He likes to have a nice balance. But do we have the ability to keep running against teams like Clinton this week and our district opponents coming up?
I think as long as we do our job up front, we'll open holes for the run game.
I'd said it, and I told a few people, I said, you've not seen him yet, but I said Landon has the ability to run with the ball because I think you're a very good athlete. And obviously this past week there were more plays for Landon Griffith where you actually just kept the ball and ran. Did that fit in well? Did you like doing that and want to continue to do that?
Yeah, I like getting the ball as running-wise. Billy had a lot of plays in that pistol formation where you just fake the inside run and then keep it, and that's what we ran most of the time.
Well, look, you look very good against Eagleton. Defensively, this defense is looking very good. Very good. 4 turnovers in the first 2 games, 4 takeaways from the other team in the first 2 games, only allowing, a grand total of 17 points so far. What's been the change there? What's the difference this season?
Everybody's rallying to the ball, really.
That's true.
Kind of gives our corners the confidence to not really worry about if they don't get the ball, then they got to make the tackle. It just kind of lets them go up and go for the ball. Everybody else goes and make the tackle if they don't get it.
I guess the reason that Ryland's in attendance here tonight as part of the audience is he likes to hear us talk about him a little bit, but sitting on the back end of the defense there, he and Jaden make a formidable pair. If you can just get the other team's quarterback just to throw it up in the air, they go get it real well.
Yeah, they go and hop with the ball really, really well.
They certainly do. And I've been surprised, too, by both of those, how they've come up in run support this season. What do you and the other teammates think about that?
We like it to see Jaden get a little nasty sometimes, come up and smack somebody on an out route. We like to see that.
He's giving us a smile back there, that sort of look there like that. We like that, and H, during our games each and every Friday night, he always likes to comment about who is a good hitter. And the other night he had a good comment about Jaden coming up to meet. I don't know if it's a receiver or ball carrier doing that. How about the defensive line this year? It looks pretty good, looks pretty solid, like they are holding their own and letting the linebackers get to ball carriers.
Yeah, they're taking up the blocks, which lets us linebackers kind of see the holes and see where he's going to go to. But, Jace made a heck of a play on the first play of the game last week with that dude and tackling him for the loss. But just a team effort, really.
You also get a few looks offensively, of course. And you played mostly, I think, offense over defense last year. What do you like? Which side of the ball do you prefer to play on?
I like defense.
Because you get to be more aggressive there?
Yeah, and it's not as much thinking. You just kind of go out there and play ball.
Offense now over defense?
Yeah, I've switched over to offense.
And do you ever lobby the coaches to want to get any defensive snaps during the game?
I still start on defense.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Wasn't sure about that. So between it's you, Jaden, and Rylan, all three are seniors, correct?
Yes, sir.
Who are the other, and of course, Alton makes 4. Who are the other seniors on the team if you can come up with them right away?
Hugo, Tommy Fitzgerald, and Chase Hamby.
Jace is not. Jace is a junior, right?
Yes.
Okay. As you look back at your teammates this week coming in, and other than Jaden, who's been smiling the whole time just about, who's the meanest dude sitting back there?
Hitting-wise, I'd say Tommy.
Is that who you were pointing at, Rylan? Yeah. Oh, okay. Who is the – oh, now your turn. Who do you think is the guy who wants to come out and set the tone on Friday night? Who wants to be the leader of the defense? If not you, but who wants to be the leader of the defense each week?
Rylan Griffith.
Okay, man. I mean, you'll be with us each week, won't you? Now, I mean, that's yeah. Okay, very good. What do you look forward to this week as you take on Clinton?
Really, I say we just do our jobs and work as a team and see how it turns out.
Just do your job. Everybody do their job, and we'll see.
I was looking at you sort of like Coach Harris did with me last year. I asked him a question. He said, yeah, ditto. I mean, so I was expecting you to say ditto on that. Hey, guys, if y'all got any other questions, we look forward to a nice matchup between us and Clinton on Friday night.
I was laughing a minute ago. You guys couldn't see it. Rylan Griffin is behind the camera back there, but his girlfriend was trying to talk to him. He's like, hold on. My quarterback's talking about me. So you know who it reminds me of? And he won't even get the reference. That reminds me of Jason Terry a whole lot.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's safe to say Rylan will probably be back with us at some point this season. I got one question for you, Landon. Football players they take pride in their game face. They want to have that serious game face on. Do you ever smile, though?
No, not really.
I didn't think so. I just want to see if you could.
I mean, yeah, I can, but
is it football 24/7 with you?
No, most of the time, yeah.
Hey, real quickly before you guys go, and this is for either one of you or both of you, talk about that win Friday night and what that meant for the program.
It is awesome. I mean, turn the program around and they had a win in 3 years. It's definitely something.
And how does that carry over? Because now you guys you look like you expect to win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it really just shows the team that, we can win. I think that was our biggest struggle last year was, you have that many losing games. It's just kind of like you got to go out and get a win to prove you can win, to show the team that it is possible.
All right, and you guys have certainly done that. So, Alton Whaley, Landon Griffith, thank you guys for joining us. Good luck Friday night against Clinton, another home game, 7:30 at Highlander Stadium. We're going to take a break. When we come back, our final live segment of the show, we'll be joined by cheerleaders from both schools, and we'll pick this week's games. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Helenwood. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are joined now by Oneida cheerleader Briley Rector and Sky High cheerleader Emma Carroll. They're going to talk about cheerleading. They're also going to help us pick the winners of this week's games. Yeah. So this is always our favorite segment of the show, putting you guys on the spot a little bit. Before we get started, though, we're going to talk about cheerleading a little bit. Emma, you're a junior at Sky High. Briley, just a freshman. But both of you are in your first year of high school cheerleading. So as a junior, talk about what made you decide to cheer. Did you cheer in middle school, first of all, and what made you decide to start cheering this year?
I didn't cheer in middle school, but all my friends that were already on the cheer team, they told me how fun it was, so they talked me into it. And it's a lot of fun so far.
And you've obviously been to a lot of games as a freshman and sophomore, and even before that, watching your brother play. Your brother, by the way, Clayton Carroll, who's now playing at Union College. Briley, you're also in your first year as a high school cheerleader, obviously, since you're a freshman. Everybody who knows your family knows that your mom and your aunts were basketball players, so you chose the cheerleading route. Now, I want to know, secretly, are they a little bit disappointed in that?
They might be. They probably are, honestly, but it's me. I'm different than them, so I'm not really anything like them. I never have been, so.
Okay. Both of you guys, in addition to cheerleading, you do competitive dance. So far, what's your favorite as a high school cheerleader? Would you rather cheer or would you rather do dance?
I don't know. Dance has been a part of my life for a long time, so I'd probably have to choose that because it's something I've enjoyed since I was 4 years old, so it's been my first choice for a long time.
I'm going to have to agree with Briley on that. I've always loved dance, but cheer is very fun, but it's very different from dance.
So what's your favorite part about Friday nights and being under the lights and leading the crowd and all that? What's the best part about that?
For me, it's the student section because they always crack me up most of the time, especially this past game. The atmosphere was just amazing, especially because of our win. Hopefully we can get more of those.
How about you, Briley?
Probably similar to her, the student section, mainly Eli Rector because he's insane up there. He's just Eli. I don't have any other way to explain him, so he's crazy.
Who's your favorite player, by the way?
I guess I'll have to say Caden.
I was hoping you would. I was hoping you would. How about you? Favorite player since your brother left?
I don't have one.
Okay.
They're all pretty great.
All right, that's a safe answer. I got a text, by the way, during the last break that told me I better mention the student section. They said we have not mentioned the student section. The students need love too. Student sections for both schools have really been turning out and showing up and showing out. Is that the saying? Showing up and showing out this year. Talk about the energy that they bring. They kind of feed off you guys, don't they?
I guess so. I mean, they don't really pay attention to us, to be honest. They're doing their own little thing over there. But
well, I tried to give you guys credit. Tim?
Well, I've got kind of a specific question for Briley first. And Briley, I just want to know, and I asked Aiden this last week, did your mom make you watch the interview with her sisters, the Legends?
She didn't make us, but I did.
You got to watch that?
Yeah.
Okay. Has she also shown you, I know SFN has been showing a lot of games that she's been in. Has she ever called you in and said, hey, Briley, come here, I'm on TV. This is one of my old games. Come watch me play?
I don't think she ever has, actually.
Well, she needs to do that because your mom was a player. I tell you what, that's why she was up here in the Legends. But now, so Caden last week, you're this week. Does this mean Eli's somehow going to be up here next week? Is that part of it? Are we going to have a student section?
I mean, if you have a student section, he'll gladly come up here.
So Emma, tell me this. You mentioned the football. You haven't cheered for basketball yet, but you're going to. Mm-hmm. What do you see as you think is going to be different about cheering for basketball than football?
I have to be aware, and hopefully a basketball doesn't hit me in the face, because I know that's happening quite a bit.
Yeah?
Good answer.
Yeah.
I think that is a good answer. And Ben kind of stole one of my questions for you, Briley, about sports. Now, did you play some sports when you were younger?
I think I played T-ball when I was little, but it's not really anything that stuck. So
that was never going to be a thing. So,
no.
All right. So do you have a preference on cheering in football or basketball?
I don't really know what basketball is like yet, so I think I'll have to wait to see. But, I mean, I enjoy football right now, so.
Okay. Emma, did you play sports or ever?
I played basketball.
Basketball? Okay. What was your position?
I was point guard.
Point guard.
Don't know how good I was, but
okay.
I did play, so.
Do you miss it at all?
Sometimes.
Okay. All right.
So we have some kids up here. Sorry, Rick. I have a feeling I interrupted you.
No, you go right ahead.
Hold that thought. We have some kids up here that are kind of shy. Alton Whaley was up here a minute ago. He's very shy. I can't hardly get him to talk. You don't have that problem. Does that come from being a Baptist preacher's kid?
I have no clue. It runs in the family, I guess. Clayton's not shy at
No,
all. Neither are my
definitely
parents.
Not shy.
No.
So who is the biggest talker? Would it be Clayton or would it be your dad, Mike?
Probably Dad.
Yeah.
I can't ever leave places without Dad talking to somebody for at least 20 minutes.
Never meets a stranger.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
You know, you guys have missed the most important part here. And
I don't doubt that.
Well, I mean, you've asked every cheerleader that's been on the show last season, this season, but I'll two-part it now.
He asked, not me.
Ben's asked. This is an A and B part.
You're going to get him fired up, Rick.
Is dance and cheerleading Are those sports?
I think they are, especially competitive versions of those two, but.
You're right.
I would agree. They're both there. You struggle. You go through all the processes of being in a sport. You're doing all the things like in cheer. You are lifting girls above your head, and in dance, you have to be active and be able to do all the things you are supposed to. So I think they are.
Why
Those
does
guys
it,
are right. I don't. You must have broached this subject last year about that. For
why
some
does
reason.
he not get ridiculed for that question like I do?
He just learned it from you. I'm going to give him a break on that. Plus, I got to apologize to these two ladies. Right before we came on, I sneezed in their ears right through my microphone, and that was very rude. So I want to apologize to everybody at home, to you in front of everybody at home for doing that.
And I just want to emphasize, as a cheerleader or a competitive dancer, they put in as many hours working at their craft as a football, basketball, baseball, softball team does, and I'm glad we're giving them a lot of credit for that.
I mean, I think we should retire that question. Now,
Okay.
now that Rick's asked it, I think that
I've
should
never
be
asked
retired.
it before, and
I don't
so-
think it's a question.
See,
I don't think it ever was.
There you go. Now you're catching some of what I catch. All right, guys, let's pick some winners of some games. Now, these guys are both on our pick-em panel, along with a lot of other people. If you guys happen – you've not even looked, I know. But if you were to look at the results, you would see that these guys need help. Now, Tim's in the lead, okay? But he also picked Grace Christian to beat York last week, which was a crazy pick, and I don't know what he was thinking. They need help. So we're going to talk about this week's games. We're going to get you guys to kind of
You're
chime
not
in
going to
with
say
your
that I
thoughts.
got it right?
You did get that one right, but you didn't get many others right.
Well, that's, I just concentrate on one game a week trying to get it right.
All right, let's start with the games in Region 2-2A this week. Besides Oneida Eagleton, we can talk about Oneida Eagleton. We won't ask Tim or Rick. We won't put them on the spots with our local games. But Briley, you're going to be doing your first real game as a cheerleader on Thursday night as Oneida goes at Maryville to face Eagleton. Who do you like in that game, Oneida or Eagleton?
I mean, I'm going to say Oneida because that's the team I cheer for, but I hope they win. So.
How about it, Emma?
Oneida.
I think, yeah, you're both right. It's going to be Oneida big on Friday night. Okay, so Friday night.
Or Thursday.
Thursday night, yes.
Whichever.
Friday night.
Hopefully it's Thursday night.
Friday night, Sweetwater against Tellico Plains. That game will be at Tellico Plains. Tellico Plains, it played Eagleton already in week 1. They looked really good doing it, and then they got smashed in the mouth, Tim Smith, by Sequoia last week. Can they bounce back against?
Somebody jumped onto me for picking that, if I remember right. Nobody got onto me for Grace Christian last week, but Sequoia I was questioned on.
So, Sweetwater or Tellico Plains? Who do you like?
Sweetwater.
How about it?
I'm going to go Sweetwater. Tellico Plains beat my brother, so in the player of the week. So.
Oh, yeah. So a little bitterness there.
Right.
That's right.
I'm going to agree with them.
Okay. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the flow here.
So you're going to kind of piggyback off of her pick?
Certainly. Why not?
Okay, that's probably smart.
As you mentioned, I can't do a very good job, so why don't I follow somebody else's lead?
Don't take it personal.
It's not personal.
McMinn Central is at Polk County this week. Polk County is one of those teams that Tim, folks were talking like they might be a dark horse in the district race or the region race. So far, though, it's been a little bit of a tough start, and they got hammered last week against Walker Valley. How about it with McMinn Central?
So I have to pick first every time?
Yes.
Just making
No,
sure
no,
the
just
rules.
on the Oneida
Okay, that's
region.
fine. So Polk County, yeah, they
It's so easily offended.
They destroyed Copper Basin, which is a rival, and then they played Walker Valley. Walker Valley is a 5A school. Polk County is 3A, as we are. So, and I think Polk County gets them. They've got them at home this week. And it's going to be very close. And that's one of the rivals. Coach Derek Davis, when I talked to him from Polk County in our preseason thing, he said, McMinn's a big rival for us. So I'm going Polk County. The Wildcats get that one.
I guess I'll agree with him. I don't really know. So.
At any point, are you going to disagree with him? It's okay to do that.
I want you
Maybe.
on the next one
depends.
disagree. I don't know
Okay,
which one it is,
I'll
but you
disagree on the
disagree.
next one.
Yeah. In fact, look at me and say, are you crazy?
Okay.
Okay.
Rick?
McMinn Central.
I'm going to agree with Rick.
Okay. All right.
You don't have to do that because Rick doesn't pick them all very well.
So we're all unanimous so far. Now here's one that may not be. Bledsoe County is going to be at Sell Creek, and Bledsoe County, they're also off to a 1-1 start. They did beat Cumberland County though last week, got the 1-point win. I was surprised though on the panel this week how many people picked Sell Creek. What am I missing?
Briley, you like Sell Creek or Bledsoe County?
I don't know. I don't know enough about him to say.
You just go ahead, take a stab at it. Bledsoe County, Sale Creek.
I don't know. Settle Creek, they say.
Are you crazy?
I'm crazy.
It's going to be Bledsoe County.
How about it, Rick?
I'll go Sale Creek. I just want to be different.
I'll agree with him again.
Sale Creek. So what am I missing?
I don't know, but I'm missing it big time too.
I don't think you're missing anything. It's just the fact that, you know, Scott has never played Sale Creek. I think Oneida might have played him. Never played him.
We played him in basketball one time, I think.
mean, so what do we know about them? Nothing.
They're right above Saudi Daisy.
That's right.
Right below Ray County. That's about all I got.
All right, so we're going to flip over to Class 3A now. This is another one that's kind of. I'm wondering, as I see you guys making your picks, what am I missing? Cosby at Union County. Rick, a lot of people picking Cosby this week. What do you think?
I believe I picked Union County.
I think you did. I think that was the smart pick.
And the reason I picked them, and if you'll look at my picks, man, when I turn them in, with the exception of 2 games, and one of those would be Tennessee, we'll talk about later, I picked the home team in every game, and that's the reason I picked Union County.
Emma, Scott High is going to face Union County later this year, and it's going to be a big game. Could potentially be a playoff spot riding on that one. So as we get into this season, Cosby at Union County, what do you think?
I'm going to say Cosby.
Okay. Why?
I have no clue. I'm just
okay.
Bradley goes first. I'm ladies first. Bradley, Cosby or Union County?
Union County.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
They're right. Okay, so Tauntonville, New York. I have no clue. Tim, do you know where Tauntonville is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's Staten Island.
Staten Island, New York.
Okay, so
you know, big time.
Probably a big school with a strong program, I would imagine.
Actually, only a Class 3A team or something. I don't know what their classifications in New York are, but they have not started play up. As a matter of fact, I don't think
this will be their first.
It'd be their first game. I don't think they really start until the second weekend September normally.
They're playing this in Nashville.
All right, so there you go. For whatever reason, they decided to come to Tennessee to face Alcoa of all teams. In Nashville for their first game. What do you think? Obviously, you've done your research. So can Alcoa beat them?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll pick Alcoa.
All right, so Alcoa.
Why would I go against Alcoa?
I would never go against Alcoa.
9-time defending state champion, and I don't care where they're from. I mean.
Emma?
Alcoa.
Riley?
I guess we'll go Alcoa.
Tim, can it be unanimous?
No, it's Tauntonville, New York.
Okay, so.
You know, Tauntonville only won, I think, 4 games last year, too.
Tauntonville, yeah, but did you see who they lost? They're coming down. They're spending the weekend. They're going to the Tennessee-Virginia game.
All right,
Just let you know.
We're about to talk about that. Meigs County at Kingston. Rick?
Kingston.
Meigs County.
Meigs County. I knew Tim was going to say Meigs County because that's who he picked. I've had the privilege of seeing his picks. Why do you think Meigs County is going to get Kingston?
I don't think Kingston's been all too impressive against some unimpressive foes so far in the first 2 games, and I think Meigs County has done pretty well. So
they struggled against Oliver Springs a little bit, even though they beat them 45-20.
Mm-hmm. They've not faced a team like Meigs County yet, and they may turn it on when they have to.
And that's very true. And we'll find out. We being guys in our region, we'll find out a lot about Kingston this week.
Mm-hmm.
Austin East at South Dole. Rick, Austin East is one of those teams that's struggling a little bit, looking for their first win of the season. South Dole is a tough place to try to go get that one.
South Dole.
South Dole. Emma?
South Doyle.
Riley?
You want to go first on this one?
If you'd like me to. I'll do whatever you tell me to. So, I saw everybody going South Doyle, and my worry was Austin East put their athlete, his last name
Cherry.
Yeah,
Cherry.
Put him at quarterback last week against Carter, and it kind of gave us all a scare because we'd all picked Carter. And I thought, what if they do that again? But I went South Doyle anyway.
I'm going to agree with him.
Okay, so it's unanimous, and they did get beat by Carter, by the way, 41-20. So
yeah, I would not put him there. I wouldn't put him in a helmet myself.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm a basketball coach, I'm saying, wait a minute, dude.
One that we did not mention, Scott High is going to be hosting Clinton on Friday, and I said I wasn't going to ask you and put you on the spot, and that will go for Tim too. But I'm going to put you 2 guys on the spot. And we'll start with you, of course, because it's your team, and you're going to be cheering Friday night when Clinton comes to town. So who you got, Scott High or Clinton?
Scott High.
2 in a row. Do you feel that confident?
Sure.
All
I'm going to go with it.
You're just not going to pick against them, are you?
I don't feel like I should.
Okay. All right. That's. I like that. I like that attitude. All right. Saturday at high noon in Nashville, 11 o'clock Central Time. Tennessee plays Virginia. I think Tennessee is a 28-point favorite. What do you think? Is there an upset looming?
No.
No? Emma?
Mm-mm.
No? Riley?
No, I guess.
Tim? You're not very confident in any of
I'm
these
not
picks.
very confident at all.
I hope not. It's going to be a long year if we
Yeah,
don't get
that's exactly
Saturday.
right.
Yeah, so it's not going to be like that was it 1990 or 1991 we faced Virginia in the Sugar Bowl. They had Sean Moore quarterback. Tony Thompson scored the game-winning touchdown.
Right. We were down 21-3 going into the fourth. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. Riley Rector and Emma Carroll, thank you guys for joining us, and good luck to you guys and to your teams Thursday and Friday as we get set for week 3 of this season. Now, before they step away, Tim Smith, and when we come back from break, we're going to jump straight into our Legends segment.
Okay.
And so kind of get us going there.
All right, second half of our Legends with Tori Slavin and Shay West, and this week we're going to get to the focus on what we have them in here for. 15 years ago, Oneida appeared in their last Final Four in football. That was the 2008 semifinals, and that was an interesting game. Trousdale County came to town, and we remember some controversies that took place during that game. So it should be an interesting segment for you this evening. It's Tori Slavin and it's Shay West, and the 15-year anniversary of Oneida going to the Final Four in 2008. Coach Tony Lambert's second year with the Indians. A lot of good stories coming up out of this.
All right, so we'll get to that when we come back. Our Legends of the Game segment. We want to thank Greg Mond and the Scott County School System for hosting us tonight here at the C. Michael A. Technology Center. Want to thank Trophy Masters for the set decorations that you see. Want to thank Baby J's Pizza for the pizza. Thanks to all the guys that came out and was a part of the show tonight. When we come back, our Legends of the Game segment on the Roundtable.
Every Friday.
Welcome back to Legends on IHSN. It's Oneida Legends this week, and it's been 15 years since Oneida has been in the semifinals in football in the state of Tennessee, and these two gentlemen were on the last team to do it back in 2008, Tori Slavin and Shay West, and Eli West has been here. I tell you what, Shay, that's one of the most gentlemanly behaved kids. Have you seen anybody like that, Mark? What do you think? Eli,
He's awesome.
Huh?
That's my dude right there.
I'll tell you what.
He is.
Absolutely. We're glad to have him here. We just talked about the end of the 2007 season. As we took the break, what were you talking about, Shay?
That 4 in a row there at the last of that season right there, that, to me, started the 08 run right there. It just seemed like everything started clicking. We were operating efficiently in everything we did. Everybody knew their jobs, didn't have to think twice about it. And it just felt like that's where the momentum built.
So within the team, what were the expectations? Tori, I'll start with you. Going into 08, what did you think was truly possible for the Indians, and who did you think might be in the way?
Yeah, Shay just said it. We'd had some success there at the end. We had tasted enough success that I think we thought we were going to win every game. Again, that's just kind of how we were, probably a fault for some of us, but I think that's just how a lot of players on that team were wired. We still had some opponents in the way. We had a Hampton regular season matchup, knew it'd be tough. Opened up with Rockwood as we did the year before, which they'd beat us. Still had Greenback, who I'd mentioned as a big rivalry, so we knew we had some tough games. And Coach Lambert was the kind of coach, he was not going to allow us to overlook those teams. He knew how we were, so he had to make sure to slow us down and bring it to our attention that, they were good. We had to respect them, but I sincerely think that we thought we were going to win every game we stepped on the field. So there was plenty of people in the way, but I think we felt pretty confident.
Oh, yeah. I agree 100% with that. There was no game that season that I didn't think we showed up, we won.
Was there any one team you went going into the season, you went, man, that's going to be the one we that if anybody's going to give us trouble, it's going to be X. Was there anybody?
Hampton was kind of that thought early on because they had been that thorn in the side.
Yeah. We had to go there too, right?
We had to go there. They've put us out of the playoffs, and they've beat us at our place. They just that thorn. So that one was, to me, that one was personal. I really wanted to win that game, and other than that, man,
we had a Watertown opponent too, kind of a mystery, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know we were getting ourselves into. Going to Middle Tennessee, never even heard of them, so that I had a question mark by it.
What about coaching staff wise, Mark? You guys getting ready for the season. What was the talk among the coaches about what you thought this team could do, and what would be the problem that could keep you from getting where you wanted to be?
Well, same with as they thought. Hampton, of course, was the big obstacle. You had a Greenback team that we felt like was going to be pretty good that year, which was pretty good that year. And I felt, this was something, going into that Greenback week when we played them in the regular season. And I know I stressed about it a lot, and I felt like some of the guys on the team, we just wasn't real sure. Maybe,
Was there any position group that you were concerned about might be a weak spot going into that season? That there's going to have to be growth in this group, or we're not going to get where we need to be?
No.
They were all in place and ready.
I thought so. I thought we was solid across the board. Thought we was very solid across the board.
Now, looking back on that season, were you pretty healthy? I mean, were there injuries that stood out through the season that caused concern that you remember?
Oh, one thing Torrey coming back that year from his knee injury, of course, that was a concern. But other than that, I don't really remember.
Y'all pretty blessed with health.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Other than you coming back from your knee injury.
Yeah, but see, I got the princess treatment or something. I didn't do any contact in practice. I didn't get to play any defense. So yeah, I don't know what they talked about behind closed doors, but
When was the last time you played defense?
As a junior, I played some defense.
Did you?
Yeah, as a senior, it was not to even be talked about. I didn't.
He was an untouchable.
I didn't tackle live. I'd go stand behind Coach Matthews or something if we were going to do a tackling drill. I don't, kind of embarrassing, but that's how my high school career ended.
He was protected.
Don't let that poor kid get hurt again. I guess is what they had said.
He was protected.
All right, so the 2008 season, instead of starting off 0-2, you start off 2-0. You get a win at home against Rockwood. You mentioned traveling up to Hampton, 26-14. What do you remember about those first 2 weeks, Shay? You go first.
The first 2 weeks, it was starting off the way we thought it was going to go, and then going to Hampton, getting a win up there, and the way that we beat them, it was kind of like, all right, the 26-14, it didn't show it, but I feel like we handled them pretty well, and they didn't, and you could kind of tell at the end of the game we had hit them in the mouth, and they kind of didn't. I don't think they wanted much more there in the second half, so that was a good thing to see. And just building that steam, it's like.
And rare from a Hampton team.
Right, yeah. Because normally they'd hit you.
That's right.
Yeah, and that team, I'm not saying that team didn't hit us either, but it was just like we bettered them. We bested them, I guess is the right thing to say. We were better. So, and that was cool.
Torrey, those first 2 weeks.
I just remember guys making plays. These guys I've talked to you about that, as freshmen they were fighting to get on the field. Now they're seniors, and we had a great cast of juniors, and I can just remember, I remember Jonathan Llewellyn hitting quarterbacks and me thinking, man, I'm glad I'm not that guy because that looked like it kind of hurt. Houston Hood coming off the edge, throwing people around. So I don't know. I just remember seeing these guys that I've talked about playing at, their peak level of high school football, and that was fun for me to sit back and experience. I wasn't doing a lot. I was turning hand into this guy, but I was really enjoying myself. I do remember at Hampton, first drive, I think we caught a pass. I threw it about as far as I could, and it got intercepted. So that was unfortunate, but then I kind of saw why, because now they thought, crap, this team can kind of throw the ball too. So then
they
opened up our run game quite a bit for the rest of that game. And as he said, we started kind of mashing people, and I think that helped that.
I remember 2 things from that game. The first one was when Lou, I think what were we on? Kickoff or punt or something. It may have just been a regular play, but Lou hit that dude with all the hair, I think Roop or whatever, and drove him into their bench. And I remember seeing that and was just like, all right, here we are. We're them.
Lou would bring wood now, and Cheese always had Justin, man. He always would play with a chip on his shoulder, and he would always talk smack to Freak to get Freak fired up. He'd go, Coach Matthews, watch this.
So we're talking about Justin Terry and Cody Duncan
for
those at home.
So
that was Cheese is Justin Terry, Cody Duncan's Freak.
So he would go out there. I know you all remember it, but he would always go out and he would get Cody fired up, and he would have to talk to him a little bit to get him wound up.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember, because who do you think the guy was that broke up all these fights? Yeah. They come back to the huddle cussing each other. I'd have to step in and say, guys, stop. And then usually here me and one of them would go fighting. So, we go round and round mid-game half the time because somebody started some nonsense.
Do you remember when I got in trouble because of this whole Cheese is yelling at Freak, and they're fighting back and forth. You're trying to get everybody calmed down. And I turned and I said, hey, how about everybody just shut, and I said what I said. I said, just shut up. Let him call the play. He's the quarterback. And they all looked at me and started just going at me. And then finally we had to call timeout because nothing was getting done. And Coach Lambert he's like, what's going on? And they said, well, Shay's over here telling us to shut up.
It looked like an elementary school classroom.
Yeah.
So what game would this have been? Where in the season?
Remember.
Was it going well or?
Yeah, it was going well. Was it Cofield?
I don't remember.
I think it was Cofield.
Now that's where we're arriving now, Mark. Mm-hmm. Week 3, you had beaten Cofield the year before 20-13. Now Cofield comes to your place, and this one was a no contest from the beginning. What do you remember, Mark? What do you remember from the coaching side of that? I know Cofield's special for you. What do you remember?
I know it was a pretty good whipping.
35-0.
Yeah, pretty good whipping for Cofield. Oh, just the way I like it.
It was the final was 49.
49.
49.
When the ones came off the field, 35. Yeah. I remember, Tim, we were better than them. There's not much other way you could describe it. That was just clear that night.
All right. So then wins over Cumberland Gap, Oakdale, and you talked about this Watertown team that got added to the schedule. The Tigers from Watertown. We saw them a few times later, but it was a storied program from what we remember growing up in the 80s. Watertown, you look in the rankings, Watertown was always there. They were, a very good team in the 80s. So they had a tradition like Oneida did in football. What do you remember about that night? You got the Tigers. I think they're the Purple Tigers. 27-3.
Yeah, neat place to play. Again, it was a mystery going down there. They played some great warm-up music. I know Shay remembers that. They hit a little AC/DC for warm-ups.
Those about to rock. They messed up when they played that.
For whatever reason, we were more excited about it than them. So, they picked the wrong playlist that night. But had a good team. I remember having a pretty good quarterback. And I just remember our defense played very, very well that night. I think you said they scored 3 points. Is that accurate? I remember sacks. I remember a couple interceptions, maybe a scoop and almost score. Didn't
they have a really athletic quarterback? Really good, fast quarterback, I think.
They had a guy named Blaze. I think was he a running back?
I believe he was a running back. I think this year the quarterback was slow. I think later on when I was a coach, we played against Ty Jobe or somebody that was an athletic quarterback. But they were good. But, again, great defensive game. That was a specific game that I remember in my head that the defense played.
It was a neat setting, too. You had, I think, right across from the end zone there was a house. There was a residence. It's kind of just a –
Wasn't there something with the one corner of the end zone?
The right end zone went up the hill a little bit,
you'd have had to climb a hill to catch a pass there. It might have helped you, though. I don't know if you get up there above the defender.
Come jumping down.
Might break an ankle,
So you come out of there 6-0, and then you face off a year ago. The region champ was Midway, and now you've got Midway on the home field, and you get a 24-14 win. Big step forward to try to put a stranglehold on the region right there.
Mm-hmm. It was a good game. I remember a specific play in that game I'll share. Going into halftime, close game, I believe. Might have been tied up 7-6, something like that, and it was less than 60 seconds left, and Dylan West had ran a long pass route, maybe a post and go or something, stretched the field, threw a long ball to him for 45, 50-yard touchdown. Kind of got things rolling, went into half with some extra momentum. It was just a fun play. He was another great receiver that I had. So, again, always excited to see somebody like that making a really big play. But, again, kind of like the Cofield game, not as big, but we were now better than them. So that was something that we were starting to see.
Midway was kind of like these teams that work the clock down and make you play their game, right? It's a 24-14 difference, but it really doesn't show the difference in the two teams because Midway kind of controlled the tempo. Is that right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Similar to us.
Yeah. So then wins over Harriman, Sunbright, and then this Greenback game up there you're talking about that really winds up being this is going to be the region championship. If you get this, it gives you the home field, and you go up there and face off against the Cherokees. And Mark, you said you were worried that they weren't ready.
No, I wasn't worried that they wasn't ready. I was just I felt like going into that game, guys. I felt like that we wasn't just absolutely sure about beating them, and that was just coming from my guys, them linemen. They wasn't 100% because you remember you had old Bear Plemons. And I watched this guy. I actually watched this game last night.
Wow.
Yeah, I rewatched it last night, and if you'll remember, we came out and they scored on us.
They got the lead.
They got the lead. It was 6-0. it was 6-0, and then they stopped us. And we stopped them, and then we got the ball back and went down. It seems like maybe you threw a touchdown pass.
I believe Clint caught the first one on the edge of the end zone.
Yeah.
The catch of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And
because it was a tough catch? Or
it was.
In the big moment, both?
I mean, both. That and he couldn't have had his toe on the in the end zone.
I feel like it was fourth down, too, man.
Yeah, it was.
We ran a little boot play on fourth down, rolled out, and found him over there,
Just toe tapped it down. I mean, just few blades of grass from being out of bounds.
Huge play right
awesome.
there. And it was we had battled them that whole first half. It was like 5 minutes left in the first half, and we go and missed the extra point. Missed the extra point and go in at halftime, seems like it's 6-6.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then come out in the second half.
It got rolling in a hurry.
Yeah. And then we understood that we're better than this bunch. And then you remember well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead with your memories about that ball game.
That was probably the coolest. And I know I've talked about the atmosphere at every place, right? And I think that's probably my thing that I miss the most about being around football is just the atmosphere that you get. But rolling into that place on the bus and the stands are packed. Like we haven't even started to warm up yet. Our stands are full. Their stands are full. They got a plane flying around saying Greenback beat Oneida, and it's just it's college-esque atmosphere. Matter of fact, I never seen a better one playing in college football.
Unbelievable.
Even at little level as it was. It was amazing. And then people sit like 10, 12 deep up on their trailers, and just their passion they were projecting towards you. And
2 undefeated teams.
Yeah.
9-0, last game of the season, right?
Man, that was awesome. And then watching Sam Woodard bust down the sideline for that big long touchdown and then stare and just kind of shake his head. And that was just a good game, just solid, just hitting each other. Like what he explained earlier about that good long movie that has maybe the bad ending.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the sequel where we had the good ending. Yeah. Where we kind of put the demons to bed and we're able to get that deserving win.
Prove something to yourselves.
Yeah.
Tori, what about you?
He put it, I don't know if I can add any better words to it because that was spot on factual. I do remember, random fact, Maryville High School must have had a bye that week because we saw a couple Maryville High School jerseys up there scattered in the bleachers. So I think they had a coach that had come to visit too. So just to magnify that there were some people that thought that was a really important football game that week, as we did. Mm-hmm. But that atmosphere was unmatched.
Unbelievable.
It was a fun way to play high school football.
Now, one, and I know y'all remember it. But what happened after the ball game when we was fixing to roll out of there?
Oh yeah,
I'll tell it. I've always wondered how fabricated it was, but from the two guys telling it, I think it's got to be true. But they claim Coach Lambert was on the bus. I think Coach Wright was with him. We were in the locker room, I believe, getting ready.
I was on the bus.
You can verify?
I remember Bunky stepping on the bus to say something. I don't remember what he said.
This was a Greenback player.
Yeah, he was a quarterback.
He's good, too.
He was very good. He stepped on our bus. He come 1 or 2 steps up. Didn't come all the way up. Kind of stayed in that little well, the little door well there. And, motioned for Coach Lambert. And I remember him looking at him and just he kind of had a perplexed look on his face a little bit, and then he turned around and walked off. And he turned around and he said he'd see us in 4 weeks. And it's like, or the quarterfinals, 3 weeks, however long it was. 3 weeks.
That's when we would have played him in the playoffs. Right. Is what he was insinuating.
Yeah. And it's just like, all right.
And he did.
Step on our bus, bud.
He meant what he said. If that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
didn't go too well for him.
10-0, 10-0 regular season. You open up against Cloudland at home. It's a big win against Cloudland, and then your region a little bit stronger looks like because now you face off with Midway for the second time this season. Second time at home, you beat them 27-3 first time, and here in the second round of the playoffs, 38-0. The confidence continues to grow, right? And then this rematch. The quarterback had said, "We'll see you in 3 weeks," and here he is 3 weeks later coming into Dr. M.E. Thompson Field. It's the quarterfinals, and you had beaten them 20-6.
Cold.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that princess treatment I was talking about, all these guys that want to hit each other, I just wanted to get my hands warm. I think it was 17 degrees or something. There were space heaters out there on the sideline. It was probably the coldest game I've ever played in.
I had my cutoff on. I was good. I had the old Green
You
Bay.
warmed up in just a cutoff?
Well, no, underneath my jersey I always wore this one cutoff.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of like my lucky cutoff. Yeah. But
Was anybody out there warming up with no sleeves, trying to be tough?
I don't recall.
None of the linemen?
I don't think so.
No.
Not that I remember.
Mark, what do you remember about the preparation for that second matchup?
I had a big coat on. But the preparation, I mean, it kind of went like the first time. I thought we knew we could win. We knew we had their number. I felt like, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys thought. I mean, we knew we could beat them, but preparing that week, we knew we could handle them. From the second half on of the first ball game,
okay,
we knew we had them. So I didn't feel like that it was going to be a issue.
So how did this one unfold? Was there ever a question? Was it dominant from the start, Torrey? What happened?
He said, from the second half of that first game, that's just how it was going to be. And I feel like, I guess the pressure was on them, and it was clear. We just kind of stayed the course and did what we did. They were scrambling around like crazy people, trying to make a play, trying to make something happen. And I would imagine that was the coach's plan, is let's put pressure on his quarterback, because he was good. He was shifty and he was fast, but I mean, man, he had a few rough nights playing us because he didn't have much time to do anything.
Wow.
So
third play of the game, he throws a pick six to Will Woodard, and it's just automatically getting hit right in the face.
Yeah,
and
they picked up where we left off the previous game.
Yeah, and like he's saying, the quarterback was scrambling around all night long trying to get away from Cheese and Shaft and Freak.
Yeah, it was over with. I don't remember.
50-21 was the final.
Yeah, it was 50-21. 50. Yeah, I know. There's a picture of it down at the
it's still on the wall. Yeah, last time I was in there. It's been a while, but
so this is for those watching that maybe are younger. This is a newspaper. These used to be published each week.
We used to get one every Thursday, right?
I'll put that right there. So that was the newspaper. The Knoxville News Sentinel, I believe, is what that is. And I know Coach Lambert always talked about you want to be practicing, you want to eat Thanksgiving dinner, and then you want to practice, or maybe it's the reverse.
Vice
reverse.
versa.
Okay, practice and then have dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you want to do. And you see, this was the article. Thankful at Oneida. You were the big game in town that week. Oneida was playing in the semifinals, and I mean, it was another huge week, another huge build-up, and you knew you had a very good team coming in. You were 13-0, and you were going to be looking at Trousdale County, the Yellow Jackets, and I believe his name was Takoa Say.
Takoa Say, yeah.
Yeah, was the feature athlete on this team. They were coming in, and what do you remember about that week of preparation?
That News Sentinel does a pretty good job there. We were, and I've seen it many times in sports. Kids don't want to practice. I think most of the players on that team was very happy to be practicing that week. I guess that's just, when you're one of the last four teams practicing, we saw it was coming to an end one way or the other. So I think we were all pretty excited to practice and prepare for this team that we didn't know anything about. They were also coming out of, I don't know if you consider them Middle Tennessee, but they're not a team that we read about weekly, and we didn't share many common opponents. They were similar to us. They ran some, little fullback that got a lot of carries, tried to keep things between the tackles. They did have the really good athlete you talked about. So just to answer your question, overall, it was a very fun week preparing for a really big game.
Shay, what do you remember about it?
Yeah, same. Not knowing much about them, but I always felt like we could beat them. Even though watching the film and watching them steamroll those guys that they played, and it's just like, man, I think we got them. I just had that much faith in the guys around us. Guys around the whole team. That I just felt like we were going to win that game.
Mark, what was the preparation? How did that feel?
I felt like we could too. We had the team. We had as good a team as, and I felt like that was the state championship game.
I agree.
It was, what was it, 13-10 going into the fourth quarter?
I think so.
I felt like that,
Oneida was prep performance ratings. They had Oneida in the state number 5. I think you were ranked 3rd in the AP. if I remember right. Trousdale was the clear number 1 in the state in the performance ratings and in the Associated Press. That was the team.
And in my humble opinion, if we would have thrown the football, we would have won that game.
Okay.
I agree with that. Because I remember coming to the sideline, and Coach Wright was our offense coordinator, and he said, "What do you see out there?" And I said, "They got 9 in the box, blitzing 9, and they're playing 10 yards off me and Dylan."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right."
Yeah.
And he called a hitch, and it got audible. So.
All right. So now the Indians coming into this game, you did get a lead on a safety. I had to go back to the.
We stuffed Tecumseh in the end zone. Yeah.
At the end of the first quarter, Oneida led 2-0. Now I'm not sure when this occurred, but this was the headset malfunction game, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I think
forgot about that.
I think for Oneida fans, that's something. Who you forgot about that?
I forgot about it until you just
So-
you mentioned it.
I remember that.
Well, now here's the thing. I've always felt like Middle Tennessee teams do this thing that they call I started to say sportsmanship, but that's
anti-sportsmanship.
not what I'm talking about. No, it's just gamesmanship.
Okay.
Okay. They will do things that are legal, but kind of get in your head and under your skin. I remember, one time Oneida went to Clark Range and they identified that one of our lineups had been written down improperly. We didn't check on it, so they got the ball in a technical, and it was just kind of a gamesmanship type thing. This felt a little bit like that because what happened for those who don't remember or weren't there, Trousdale County said their headsets had stopped working to communicate with their coaches to the booth to talk about defensive and offensive formations and lineups. Well, the officials said, if their headsets aren't working, the Oneida coaches can't have the unfair advantage of their headsets not working. And whatever point that occurred in the game, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I remember there was a lot of concern among the coaches, and it was a distraction, wasn't it, Mark?
They was using cell phones is what they was doing. And that was seen by other people. That's what they was doing.
So I remember catching one of them. I was standing there next to Coach Brewster.
Yeah.
And you kept seeing one of their coaches kind of dip behind somebody.
Yeah.
And then he would dip back up.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, he's talking to somebody. He's got something he's talking on."
That's what they was doing.
Yeah, and then you could look up in the booth where they were sitting, and you could see a guy was kind of doing the same little shady little dip, and it was just
any kind of advantage they could get.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what they was going to do.
And I think they knew if they could get under Coach Lambert's skin,
Yeah,
he was going to turn into, "I'm going to run it down your throat."
Yeah.
I think, and that's what they wanted. Hey, become one-dimensional. Now we can.
Yeah.
Now we can, because they had the cats and we had cats, but it's a little bit easier to handle us if you know what we're going to do.
Right.
So Tori, you don't remember that at all.
I
You were so focused. Oh, but
Yeah,
during
now
the
that you
game, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember it happening. I guess
Yeah.
it's just over the 15 years. If I was going to talk
Yeah.
about that game, I would have not mentioned the headset malfunction. But no, when you bring it up, I remember it clearly.
Yeah.
In fact, I think an Oneida fan had saw him on a cell phone and made some threats. Hey, you better put that cell phone up, or I'm going to come up there and put it up for you.
I've got a good idea. I remember who it was.
Well, I don't want to.
Well, we don't have to. We don't need
I remember who it
accusations.
was. Yeah.
A loyal Oneida fan made that threat. Yeah.
So you go down 6-2 at halftime. Oneida's down 6-2, and then Trousdale County comes out and they get a touchdown return of 60 yards, and they go up 13-2. But you're able to come up with an answer. Now, what I've got written here is a 30-yard touchdown pass, Dylan West to Jonathan Llewellyn. Is that how that transpired?
It was opposite, wasn't it? Halfback
Llewellyn.
pass.
Yeah, Jonathan Llewellyn.
From. You're right.
Tossed it to Lou, a little sweep, raised up and threw it. We practiced it all week. It was big.
It was beautiful.
All right, and that puts you within 3 as we go to the fourth quarter. So, I mean, this is a team you were toe-to-toe with, despite all the distractions, despite all these things. It's a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter. But at that point, Trousdale County is able to get another touchdown to go up 20-10, and that was early in the fourth, and then just unable to recover and come up with a win on this night. But certainly the Final Four team for Oneida. It's been 15 years now, as folks haven't gotten back to it. Your final thoughts on this Trousdale County game?
They were good. They were a good ball team. Coach Matthews said it. That was we thought that was the state championship. I think they played, I don't know, maybe Joe Burns or somebody the next week and won fairly easy at the state championship. So another quality game, as you had it in your little score sheet there. We had chances to win. To get the number one team state and get them a safety on them. That's saying that we were doing some good things. Brought it back to 13-10. That was a good thing. I can remember being in the fourth quarter, and I think we still thought we were going to win. I guess we just kind of believed like that. We thought we'd find a way, and a couple things didn't go our way, and that's just how it concluded. But again, fun ball game. Shay always mentions the atmosphere. I can remember it being 4 and 5 and 6 people deep in the end zones, standing around. Our community was awesome at that time. There was people that, I think they loved watching us play. They loved the community, the program, and it was just really fun to be part of that. So I know it was the concluding game, not how we wanted it to end, but that doesn't take away from some of the enjoyable moments that it brought to us.
Shay, your wrap on it?
Yeah. Trousdale, they were a good team. I can't take nothing away from them. They executed when they needed to execute and beat us, but man, there's no buts to that. They just beat us, I'd love to get another shot at them, I still haven't ever watched the game, but that atmosphere was great. That whole season was so fun to play in, have good friends that you get to play with from the time you were little.
Yeah.
And then all the way up to there.
Special. Yeah, and that's something that a lot of the Oneida legends we've talked to have talked about. I mean, just from Sparky Woods to anyone else, he talked about stepping out and looking up in the fans and the click of the cleats. Mark talks about the click of the cleats, and it's something that you guys all share, and that's pretty cool as legends.
I still get cold chills. I'm 50, almost 54 years old, and I get cold chills to this day when I hear it.
You hear the click walking down the steps into the tunnel?
I do.
Man.
Yeah. All right. Now, and real quick, we've got one more segment, but before we go, before we get to that, you guys, it didn't end there for you guys and for you guys playing together. You went on to Tusculum to play together for the next few years. Just real quick summary on what that was like to be able to continue together, that it didn't have to end there in high school.
It was a different kind of fun. It's not going to override what you got on your score sheet there. That was, I don't know, that was as, feelings and emotions are as strong there as they could get for me. But we did go on and play in college, and we had a great time. We stuck together. We ran together. I don't know if you saw one of us, you probably saw the other there for 3 or 4 years, but we both had some success. Shay had an extremely successful career, accolades to probably fill up his whole garage. So, again, it was also neat to see two guys from this little community that could, go and have a respectable career at the next level. But we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was positive, but I still can't value my college experience over my 4 years of high school football right here in this community.
Shay, what were some of those accolades? Remind people what you got there.
Oh,
it's not bragging; it's true.
Well, I was first team all conference, all South Atlantic Conference player 4 years in a row, and then my junior and senior year, I was able to get All American awards.
Yeah.
So
that's a big deal.
Pretty
now
special.
It was just it being an upside down quarterback, but I didn't get to play as much receiver
for the long snapping.
Tight end.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, long snappers are people too.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll describe a long snapper. I thought about this on the way here. Long snapper to me is like the tire guy in NASCAR. If he doesn't do a very good job, everybody's going to know it, right? You're going to see tires flying down the track. Right. When he does his job and you win the race, it just seemed like he was supposed to, and that was him.
Most important guy on the field.
Yeah, but if we didn't have a good one and you see that snap go over the punter's head, everybody says, oh, boy, we got a problem. So, no, he was a very, very valuable role for his 4 years in college football.
And that was always my goal, was nobody knew my name. Because if you didn't know who I was, then
you're doing your job.
Then I was doing my job.
Right.
Yeah, I had a coach in college once tell me, he was like, you're like a totem pole, but you're the part in the ground. I was like, yeah, that's about right. That's Coach Riley. That's before me and him really got to know each other. But it was like, yeah,
Hey,
Thanks, Coach.
One more thing about our college career I didn't mention. We played for some neat coaches. We got a couple guys. One that was a defensive coordinator for Alabama. He's
Coach Golden, Pete Golden.
Pete Golden worked with Nick Saban for 2 years as the DC guy. The coach for Minnesota Vikings as a defensive back coach.
Carl Scott. Carl Scott started at Alabama
and then
went
ended up
to
with the Vikings. So it was, we had a lot of fun networking and seeing people and different coaches and players. So there were still fun moments to it.
Spencer Riley was one of our coaches. He played on the
UT
98
legend. People watching this will know.
Game.
They'll know Spencer Riley.
Yeah, he knows what it feels like in '98.
All right, I got just a few closing questions I want to talk to you about, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. We're going to take one more break. You're watching Legends on IHSN. Welcome back to Legends on IHSN. We've got Tori Slavin, we got Shay West, and we got Eli West, who's been a real trooper through this. And this is it, Eli. After this, we're going to be done. Thank you for being with us. And guys, I just got to ask you about a couple of teammates. And I'm going to start with one that's currently having some health issues, Cody Duncan. We mentioned him earlier. They called him Freak. That's all I remember him being called. Him, Justin Terry was Cheese and Cheese and Freak, and I remember Mark saying those nicknames, and I don't think I even knew their names for the longest of time. But Cody's been experiencing some health challenges. Talk about Freak, Cody on that team.
Yeah, man, he was. I don't know. I could probably open this door and talk for an hour, but might be the strongest kid I've ever watched play. Along with being pretty athletic and skilled. He played some basketball and soccer, so everybody saw him as this big giant, but he actually had some athleticism. Mark coached him every day, hands-on, so I'm sure he can say, yeah, he was a very special offensive and defensive lineman. Great person, great friend of mine. You mentioned a situation now. I think back to when we'd mentioned my little junior year leg injury at the end of the season. I'd called him after that game. He was a close friend of mine. He said, man, I had a hard time at halftime. He said, I kind of, lost myself, and he said, I saw what happened to you, and it really tore me apart. So he's a guy that cared about people. He cared about me. He cared about his teammates. So super high character guy, along with a very great football player.
Shay,
he had that switch that I always say that really good players have. That they're they're nice and very kind of. Not timid is the word, but like they're just kind of just very good people, outside of the game. But when he put the pads on, man, I did not want to be in front of that guy. He would. It sucked to hit him and be across from him just over and over and over, just taking that beating. And like he said, he was athletic too, so he was fast. So when he would pull, here you come. Just I felt sorry for some of them boys he hit. It was just, it just didn't feel good, but. He was just he just had that switch that he could flip it on, and it was showtime. There was no more I'm nice. It's I'm here to cause nothing but destruction. And it was awesome having him on the line. And on the defensive line.
I'll tell a quick one on him. This was the last time I messed with him because I learned real fast. We were juniors in an English class, and we were close friends, and I'd wrapped a rubber band around my hand, had it, however you shoot it. I'd shot him once. He said, man, I'm telling you, don't flip me with that rubber band again.
I think I was in there.
Yeah, probably. So me being me, I'd crouch my way around the room, got right behind him, boom, I hit him right in the back of the neck. Next thing I know, I was on my back on a desk, and all I could see was the lights in the ceiling of the school. And here he was in my nose. I said, hey, man, I'm sorry. I won't flip you that rubber band again. So, that took a turn in about 1 second. I was upside down in a desk. So, when he put his hands on you, that probably relates to offensive line. When he put his hands on you, you was going to go wherever he wanted you to go.
Do you remember speaking of him, one play that sticks out in my mind is Sunbright game. There's a guy that used to play for us that he ended up leaving Oneida and ended up playing at Sunbright. Well, Freak got a hold of him and drove him to the fence. And it almost reminded me of the movie Blindside. Is exactly what it almost reminded me of. He got him, and it was personal at that point, and he took him he was taking him to the bus.
Yeah.
He was done.
He was trying to cut him is what he was trying to do.
And that got him.
Yeah,
he kept trying to cut him, and it made him mad. So
and
he
if
got
you
all
make
of
him
it.
mad, I'm telling you, he's going to get you.
Yeah.
Mark, did he ever get mad at you when you were coaching him?
No. Well, yeah, he did one day in practice, and it was before we played Greenback. And old Sass was lined up, and you know how me and Coach Stevens was always the defensive guys over there, and the scout team defensive guys. And I said, right here's Bear Plemons, freak. He's gonna whip your hind end all night long. And I was talking that stuff to him, and he come out in that first play. Old Sass come out, made a play, and shot the gap. And got Jonathan in the backfield. Made a big play. Made him look bad. Of course, that wasn't a good thing because the next play he got – and Sass was probably, 320?
Sass is who?
Zach Hodges is
Zach Hodges.
Okay. Given name.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
You're going to have to help people
I don't
out.
know most people by their real names. I know them by their nicknames.
Yeah, I'm
man.
sorry.
I still call them by that when I see them.
Me too.
And he got and Sass, like I say, about 320 then. And he got Sass and picked him up and drove him probably 10 yards and right down into the ground. Well, the next play we get up, and here I go chirping again. And Sass turns around and says, Coach Matthews, shut up. He's going to kill me. So I shut up. He didn't want me to say nothing else.
Well, we wish the best, Cody. Hope for a healthy recovery for Cody. Huge part of this team, Cody Duncan.
Great kid.
Freak.
Great guy.
Yeah. So now, unfortunately, you lost a teammate a few years back, and a huge part of this, you talked about him lining up at fullback. I remember him more at fullback, but you mentioned when y'all were talking about him as a linebacker too, it wasn't far out of my memory either, but Jonathan Llewellyn and just both sides of the football a force. Shay, you start with Jonathan.
So going with that, talking about football being a force, one hit that stands out to me on him. Remember when we played Cumberland Gap at home?
Yes, I do.
And they had like this Tim Tebow size quarterback. That's what we always heard. He's a big guy. Well, Lou come through on a blitz, man, and he hit him right underneath the chin and decleated him. It was an awesome, one of the best hits that I've seen. And it kind of set the tone too. And just Lou being Lou just got up and just kind of back to the huddle he went, He celebrated a little bit, but he didn't, other than yelling, that's about all he do. But, yeah, man, he was –
wasn't never too flashy, was he?
He's just going to run you over.
Yeah.
And then outside of football, me and him hung out a lot and went to Florida with him a bunch and, stuff like that. He was just rode around town and, man, he actually got into an accident with him, pretty good one. But he was that guy that if he was your friend, he was your friend. No matter what, even if you were wrong for doing what you were doing, he would stand right next with you. Even if you deserved every bit of that butt kicking you're about to get, he was going to be right there next with you. That's just that's the awesome person that Lou was.
Tori?
Yeah, Shay said a lot of great things. I'll mimic. He came from Robbins Middle School, and the kind of personality he has, I think most people forget that he's not. Didn't play her whole life with us, but he came in as a freshman, fit right in, played football, basketball, maybe a little bit of baseball. I didn't play baseball, but I think he did
some baseball. Good stories there.
So again, great athlete, played everything. A great person, as you said, the kind of friend he is. All smiles. He's
funny.
a guy you could joke with at any time, and then when it was time to turn it on and play, he was a very good competitor, good running back, big, had plenty of skill, could catch the ball. But yeah, another, we got a list of guys, but he is a great teammate that I was, glad to have the privilege to know and play with.
Mark?
Downhill guy. I mean, he was the north-south guy, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Lou, I always loved Lou. The memories I have of him he was always a happy guy and fun to be around. And outside of football, I didn't get to be around him a whole lot, but just being around him in that atmosphere, he was always just a happy kid, and just like all the rest of them, I sure did love him.
I believe from what I remember, Mama kept you all lined out pretty much. He
Cer-
took care of the players. And
She
she
certainly did.
She kept you guys lined out.
Yes, she certainly did.
I mean, was there a more vocal cheerleader at that time for Oneida football than?
She certainly kept Coach Lambert lined out.
She loved that Oneida football team.
Yes, she did. She did.
All right, guys, just some quick lightning round questions. I think we've answered some of this, but just answer this question for me. It sounds like you've answered it, right? You may have already got this, so if you repeat the answer, that's fine. You're in a fight. Who started it? This is on the field, right?
Me?
He started it?
Probably.
Not even Freak or Cheese? This is Shay started
he started with his mouth. First play, he's going to be talking.
Yeah.
He made friends with every defensive back that ever lined up in front of him. I swear to it.
Yep. There's probably truth to that.
But no, there's probably, on the football field with 22 players, there's probably a bunch of little individual wars. I'm sure up there in that front line there was some fights.
But more than likely, if you're in a fight,
I'd say if I was walking backwards and somebody said, hey, somebody's out there fighting, I'd turn around and I'd expect to see him in it.
Gotcha.
That carried on to college, too.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
Scrappy. Had to be scrappy. Had to earn some respect.
All right. Who was the team clown? Who kept everybody laughing and did the best Tony Lambert impression and was just the one that
Clint Keaton's the one that's going to come to my head for impressions. He could rattle them off.
Darn mouthpiece. Yeah, he did that. He sounded just like him.
He did an impression.
Oh, he did a Mark Matthews impression?
He got a mean Mark Matthews.
And we all thought it was Coach Matthews one day.
Yes.
He come in there and was yelling about a darn mouthpiece, and we turned and looked because we thought we were in trouble, and it was Clint.
He did it to me. Yeah. Every chance he got. Yeah.
All right, so Clint Keaton, the team clown then, right?
Lou was.
He was.
Yeah.
There was a few that could have qualified.
TB. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was just goofy.
Blevins,
yeah.
Sense of humor for sure.
Yeah.
What about who was a sneaky good player, an underrated player? People didn't realize how good this player was. Did you have anybody like that?
Brian Brown. Played a little
linebacker.
Linebacker,
yes, sir. Right?
I believe his senior year, he was a junior when we were seniors. I believe his senior year he had some health issues, heart issue. His career might not have finished how he wanted. But when he was a junior, he was a solid linebacker.
He was a big part of our defense.
He played alongside Jonathan Llewellyn. Wasn't the fastest guy on the field, but solid linebacker.
Yeah, he was going to tackle you.
Yeah.
If he got close,
he's a guy I trusted out there on defense. Yes.
All right. So did you have a team psychologist? Somebody's got a problem, they go to this person to get advice to work it out.
I'll let Shay answer for that. We had a coaching staff that probably had many of those guys. When you got a guy like Coach Lambert, you got to have some side guys to go and say, Coach Matthews, can we just have a normal conversation? I'm tired of getting chewed out or running or whatever.
That happened a lot.
So
he was a team psychologist.
He was one of them.
Coach Stevens was one. Coach Stevens did a lot of that.
Coach Wright even had a role.
That's who I was going to say.
He's the guy that you go to, and he'd be a realist to make you feel like things are okay after Coach Lambert got done. Chewing you up, spitting you out.
All right, you brought him up, Coach Wright. He's run through these legend interviews too, and I haven't got him yet, but I'm going to. But I mean, he's got this offense lined up for you guys with the cowboy package and all that. Just say a couple words about Robert Wright, each one of you.
You want to go ahead, Shay? You want to go first?
Oh man, Coach Wright, he's good as they come. I haven't found too many people, if any, better than him. He's the same today as he was yesterday. He doesn't change just because of who you are or whatever. And he's gonna love on you and he's gonna coach you. And at the end of the day, that if you need something, you call him and he'll be right there. And that's I just can't say enough about Coach Wright.
Tori?
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking of how to condense this because I wish you'd give me about a 30-minute window just to sit and tell you, how good of a guy he is and what he means to me. But he does. He's the kind of guy, and there's not a lot of people. Everybody asks how you're doing after they hadn't seen you in a while. He's the one guy that when he asks how you're doing, I really think he cares how I'm doing. So we'll get to talking off that question alone. But he's man, one of a kind, great coach, great man. He's told me so many things that I've idolized. And the last time I spoke with him he was talking about how he's living retirement. To which here I am making mental notes of hey, Coach Wright's doing this. I think I might look into it when I retire. So yeah, I don't know. I put a lot of value in Robert Wright and the kind of person he is. He really means a lot to me. Meant a lot to that 08 football team as well. He's a solid guy.
Did you have a quiet leader on the team? Somebody who just just their example made you step up from watching how they played, how they conducted themselves? Was there somebody like that on the team? Sounds like we might be sitting next to two of them.
I mean,
Who'd you say?
Times probably.
I was gonna say Josh, man.
Yeah.
Josh Slavin.
Josh Slavin.
He was a very consistent player.
Mm-hmm.
Like if his number was called, there's a good chance he was going to produce.
I agree.
And it was over a 90% chance he was going to produce. And he never got in trouble outside of football. He never got in trouble inside of football. He just kept his head down and just played. And
if there was a fight, he wasn't the guy you were going to turn around and see.
Definitely not. Josh was definitely not going to be
Me and him be over
there
talking about it and see who we think was going to win. Yeah, we weren't going to get out there and get in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I'll add a guy, too. It must be in the last name for them anyway. Kelsey Slavin was another guy on that roster. Played receiver. And Coach Lambert always said, if there's a guy on his team I'd pick to date my daughter, it'd be him. And as a dad of a daughter, I don't want none of them dating my daughter. So that's important. That Coach Lambert thought he was that kind of guy. As Shay said, didn't get in trouble outside of school, or inside of school. He took care of his business. Never missed a practice. So.
Yeah, Kelsey, he was always
He's
there.
a guy you could trust, right?
Yeah.
If practice is at 8 a.m., he's going to be there by 8 a.m. ready to practice. So I think
he was giving his all, 110,
I agree.
120% every snap he got.
So, so if there's a by example, those two guys right there would definitely fit that category.
All right, worst part of practice?
I can remember it ending a few times. We'd have to run those things. I don't even know what they're called.
Gassers?
Well, definitely those two. But we were out there on defense, which, as I told you, I didn't even get in the mix on that. We'd line up. We'd all sprint every 5 yards and line up.
That was,
it's something I hated, A, because it was defense, and I wasn't ever even going to play, and B, because I had to run. So when you mix them two things together, I guess I kind of struggled to get through that. But that's the only thing that stands out to me.
Yeah.
What a lot of times, I know with coaches, the losses bother them more than the wins provide them enjoyment. But what provided you the most enjoyment? If it's a game, if it's a moment, if it's something, what provided the most enjoyment for you in your 4 seasons as a high school player at Oneida? If you could pin it to kind of one experience. That's tough. I know.
That's a hard one specific, but and I'll hit you with just a general of an answer as a question. Just our time together. When that team met, whether it was a weight room workout, a summer workout, I really think that we enjoyed being around each other. And I could be deceived by that. And I've been on the other side of coaching, and I haven't always felt like that about teams. But I think it would have been middle of July, and we'd be up there doing conditioning on the field. And I swear I was convinced that we were kind of having a good time with each other.
Yeah.
Had an awesome staff that we enjoyed, players that we've mentioned all these little roles and fit, and it just I don't know. It was a fun operation.
Yeah. Some of the most memorable times for me would be I really enjoyed the walk from the field house to the tunnel. Just getting to walk through the crowd and kind of take all that in, and then you're feeling everybody's energy. Everybody's all fired up, and they're getting ready to play, and just kind of everybody's just on the same page. And for me, that was always awesome. Just that little moment you had in the tunnel while the band was playing, getting ready, and it's just kind of you and the guys, and then when the noise goes away. You got all of it going, and then I guess when you get in that zone, man, and all the noise goes away, and it's just right there in front of you. That's kind of my favorite time in football, right there.
Last thing I want to say, I want each of the three of you to just say a word about Oneida fans. You've talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to let Mark start, and we're going to come back this way, and we'll be done. Okay, Mark? First, which was best, playing, coaching, or doing games with me? And then a word about Oneida fans.
I'll make it easy on you and kick that last one out. There ain't no way that's top of your list.
Doing games with him?
Running around with him, yeah. I hope you throw that out right away.
That's gone. I have to say probably playing.
Yeah. Playing, coaching, doing games with me, that's the order.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. You're last.
All
Yes,
right.
definitely last.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oneida fans? Any word on Oneida fans?
You're still up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've seen the good and the bad. What about Oneida fans?
What about them?
Yeah.
Oh, great. great. They have been from when I started in 1980
yeah.
till now. They've always been great followers of Oneida football.
One word to describe them for me would be loyal. I mean, no matter where, like I said, no matter where we go, it could be 10 hours away or 1 hour away. We're going to have more fans than the home team. And that was just always, that was awesome. It was always great to see that.
Tori, you're still experiencing them. You've seen the good and the bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you're winning, it's a little easier to get on board and follow. I mean, I've been on both sides of that, so I understand that. So the year we were good, I'm sure it was easy, but there were still people that would have been there if we would have lost all
That's
10
right.
games, and I sincerely believe that. We had a great community. We had great fans. We never even questioned their support. In fact, I feel like it grew every week. So, it's something we probably expected it by the end. We just knew the stands were going to be packed because that's what those people came out and did. We had people coming down on the field trying to get their hat up in the huddle as we, put our hands up and broke it down. So, yeah, there was people that I felt like was crazy about Oneida football for that, little segment that we just described. And that was, again, it was just fun to be a part of that.
All right. I think a word I would use is expectations, and I think that's partly your guys' fault. But I think it's a good thing. I think the Oneida fans have that expectations, and there's been a lot of winning, and there's been a lot of reward to that, and certainly revisiting this 15 years ago, the Final Four team of 2008, and Torrey Slavin and Shea West join us, and Eli. I know we've just about hit his limit, but I'm amazed at Eli. And his work here tonight, Mark.
Yep, he's done a great job, and I just want to say before we get off here, certainly Oneida Legends right here.
Absolutely. And that's what this has been. It's our first Legends segment of the season, and we look forward to having many more. So much thanks, Tori. We'll see you in basketball. And Shea, thank you for joining us. We just appreciate you, and go O's. I'm with you on that one.
There we go.
Thank you for having us, Tim.
Yes,
All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we want to thank Mark Matthews, even though he picked me third. And that'll be it for the night. Greg Bond has sat through this, and I appreciate him for that. And we appreciate you for joining us. You've been watching Legends on IHSN.